All right, so today is our second episode of the podcast. So of course, if you haven't watched the first episode with all these amazing content creators, go ahead and watch the first one. We talk about Jingyuan, all that type of stuff. Still relevant, still good to watch, still a good time for sure. If you're going to be doing your dailies, doing your weeklies, all that type of stuff, go ahead and watch that podcast. But today we are doing another episode with all these amazing content creators, Mr. Pokey, Moon, or aka Destiny, and also Ioku. We're going to be doing all of this in regards to Imbibitor Lunae because, of course, I see you smiling up.
You got it right that time.
What's it called? Just so y'all know, if y'all haven't watched the other one, I said his name wrong multiple times, and I just for some reason can't get it to stick. But like I said again, we're going to be talking about Imbibitor Lunae because, of course, he is a brand new unit. Overall, really busted. Overall, really good. He has a lot of really interesting aspects to him. So, of course, we're going to talk about him, and we're going to be talking about a lot of other things that are prevalent in when it comes to right now in this version of 1.3, and also some other things that are popping up in the community. So of course, we're gonna let them do their own introductions really quickly just so we can get some highs and hellos here. Mr. Pokey, go ahead, say your highs and hellos.
Yeah. Hey, hey guys, Mr. Pokey here, back with another podcast. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what kind of discussions we'll be having with Imbibitor because I do believe with his release, he's definitely shaking up the meta for the entire DPS roster. So yeah.
All right, Destiny, go ahead and say your highs and hellos.
Okay, this time I have something to say. Hello, my name is Destiny. I go by Destiny or Moon, either or. And as for Daniel, he's really strong, but I didn't think out the butt.
What you say it?
But I don't have a butt.
That's
We're gonna have a butt later.
Okay, just so y'all know, this is the second time we had to do this. I'm so glad I caught on to it super early because I cannot imagine if we went like an hour long and the audio wasn't there because I had audio issues. So oh my god, I'm so happy.
I would cry.
I would have been
Yeah.
so mad if I came back and edited it and it was just no audio. Oh my god, I would have been so mad. I would have felt so bad too for wasting their time. But go ahead, go ahead and say hey your highs and hellos.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Yoku here, or Io. I think that's it. Yeah, you
Mr.
guys only know
Ill.
me by that.
Ew.
No. Anyhow, yeah, we're chilling. We're having a good time. I'll probably elaborate it in my own little section, but to talk about Imbibitor Lunae, I like him, and I also hate him at the same time. So it's quite literally a love-hate relationship that him and I have.
All right, that's nice. That's nice. It's already you're seeing that not everyone agrees right now when it comes to Imbibitor Lunae. He's not 100% a yes, nor he's 100% no. We're gonna be talking about all that type of stuff today, and of course, with the first topic in mind, I want to get everyone's personal experience about Imbibitor Lunae. What do you think about him? Do you think he's broken? What are his faults? What are his pros? All that type of stuff. I think right now, in all honesty, he is super strong. And I think it's very prevalent that his numbers are insane for the little, I guess you could say, investment when it comes to how you're going to use them. A lot of people are talking about his skill points. A lot of people are talking about his damage. So I want to go ahead and get these creators' opinions on what they think about Imbibitor Lunae, their personal experience, all that type of stuff, and how they've tested him. Go ahead, whoever wants to start first.
All right,
Y'all can go ahead. Yeah.
Cool. So basically, as I mentioned just now, I agree with you. I think that he is super strong. I think he's too strong.
Okay.
Yeah, and like to
Too
just kind of like
strong.
dig into it a little bit, we can use Zila as we all know. Zila is kind of the one character that we've had as S+ tier. I think Zila being where she is, I also think that was a mistake. But since it exists, it's fine. That's like the standard that we have now. Dawn Hung coming into the game and then being right next to Zila, if not stronger than her, this early into the game's lifespan is what really bothers me. Like I don't care in terms of like, oh man, I'm not going to support Horrorverse anymore. I don't care about that because it's a single player game. You know,
for sure.
until or unless they add PvP, none of this stuff matters outside of player experience or enjoyment. But from a meta perspective, like me, if this meta mattered, right? If it mattered so much that everybody needed to know it, coming from someone who's played Yu-Gi-Oh, like the card games, Pokemon, the Digimon stuff, the actual Pokemon video games, fighting games. Like I like meta. I like talking about it. I like looking at it. So I naturally look at, what's healthy for a meta, what's not healthy for a meta. Dawn Hung coming out right now doing all of this stuff, this crazy stuff. What he had limitations, which were the I will say life points. Wow. The skill points. His skill points were supposed to be his limitations, which would further limit how you built the team. And so like originally we were like, okay, cool. Automatically Bronya doesn't work because she wants to use skill points. Yukong doesn't work because she wants to use skill points. Then Dawn Hung comes out And now it's like, okay, everything that we thought didn't work actually is one of his better options to use on him as a team. And since they buff damage on top of that, well, now you're getting 200 to 300,000 damage per
Heck
whatever
yeah.
the hell it is that you're doing. And then with Bronya in particular, you get to do that 2 or 3 times per turn. So he just, for the investment that you get to put into him, which is very little, by the way, you only need to meet like certain measurements to do certain things. You get a dick ton of damage, like an absurd amount of damage for so little investment. And then as a destruction unit, he doesn't follow the laws of destruction. He's not sacrificing anything at this point. It would have been skill points, now it's not. He doesn't sacrifice HP, which is irrelevant to like someone like Blade, but still, he doesn't sacrifice HP. And it's not like he has to skip a turn after he does it, like a hyper beam from
Ooh,
Pokemon.
imagine
or
that though. I like
That'd be crazy,
skipping your
right?
turn.
Like, oh yeah, you do
if
this
that?
crazy amount of damage, but you don't get to go again until like
Oh.
a turn after your turn. That would be a really good mechanic to like
That-
balance stuff out.
Yeah,
But-
actually, yeah. That actually
Uh-huh.
sounds really good. Like if you're doing
Yeah.
that much damage, skip your next turn. That actually sounds
Exactly.
pretty interesting though.
Pokemon has a lot of
That-
great concepts that could easily apply to this game. Go ahead. No. You
But we have it though. It's like yeah, it's like literally monkey. You know the monkey guy? Like he's gonna smash you, and then
Oh,
he
yeah.
has to cool down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have added it to balance it out. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true. See, there's a lot of great mechanics that the game even has with enemies, right? But it could have worked. And it's not like I don't want him to do a lot of damage. I know some people might think that. I'm not saying that at all. It's just a matter of like, again, the McDonald's analogy that I used earlier. If they walk into McDonald's and they're all like, Don Hung and Zila want to buy a Big Mac meal, they get it for super cheap, like $2-3. Jingyuin, Himiko, they walk in, they have to pay a little bit more, right? So instead of $10, they're paying $13. And then Blade, Kafka, and anyone else, they get to go in and pay normal price. That's how it feels. Like for Jingyuin to get half of the damage Don Hung gets, I need more investment, like way more investment. For Kafka or Blade to get it, I need about a little more, right? Like normal to a little bit more investment. And then here's Don Hung. Yeah, I level 1 light cone, I'm still hitting 50k. Why do you get that? Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I'm rocking a level 1 light cone, by the way. How much damage are you doing again? Yeah, I do as much damage as you would do from like your maximum attack at max investment. What? Like, hey man, blame Hoyoverse.
Real quick, can someone Photoshop that McDonald's analogy?
Someone's gonna have it.
Who
or
would be
maybe
the
I would
cashier
do it.
though? Someone has to be the cashier with like the
Silverwolf.
Silverwolf. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Silverwolf with
I
the
support
McDonald's hat
all
on.
of you. I support all of you. I pick the prices.
Oh my god, facts. Yeah,
That'd be
that
crazy.
has to
Yo,
actually
if
be
someone
one.
draws that up, I want rights. I want credits. That'd be funny.
No shot. All right, go ahead. One of y'all talk about Imbibitor. I
You're
guess
like the one wants to talk.
I guess I guess I do have to direct it.
Yeah.
I guess I do have to direct it this time around because everyone's like, I want to hold my opinion for last. So I guess I'll make sure people go in turn and in random fashion. So we're gonna do no more of this awkward silence. I'm sorry. All right, Mr. Pokey, go ahead.
Okay, sure. Yeah, like I exactly. I agree exactly with what EO has said. I think he brings a lot to the table. In fact, a little bit too much.
Oh, really?
Because right now, I feel that the way Honkai Star Rail is, he's setting a bar at only version 1.3 to be doing
That
this
is
amount of
true.
damage.
Yeah,
Like, for
that
example,
is
300,000
true.
damage with like this kind of stuff, right? So going forward into the future, what am I as a player even gonna have
There it
to
is.
pull for if
There
I
it
can
is.
already get a unit that's doing all this, right? Yeah, I'm doing 300,000
see.
damage, and if you have his E2, it's basically times 2, so doing 600,000 damage in the single cycle, right? There's literally the videos in the CN community where the E2 Imbibitor Lunae just straight up one shots the entire MOC 10, like just
my
one
God.
shots. Like it's not even 0 cycle clear, it's
Oh my
one shot
God.
clear, right? One
Dang,
3 skill
one
point
shot?
into an out into 3 skill point, everything is just dead, right? So I feel like at this point, maybe from like a player's like a comfort experience perspective, he's so fun to play. I'm just absolutely destroying everything. But will this affect the game's fun in the long term? I feel that it definitely will, because you have to kind of match this up, especially for future DPS, right? Jing Liu has been shown in the drip marketing, Topaz. So if they're not gonna be pulling out numbers similar to Dan Heng, or sorry, Imbibitor, will players even want to pull for her? And if they really show that Jing Liu and Topaz surpass or match Dan Heng, then all of our old DPS is like, dog shit, right?
Yeah, irrelevant at that point.
Yeah. This kind of balance things definitely need to come into mind when thinking about him. But it is undeniable that he is really, really, really strong. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And even to piggyback off of that, like just thinking about from both a free-to-play players and just a paid-for player, right? If right now in 1.3 we have all the DPS characters. If we look at it from a who's gonna help me do exactly what I need to do in the game forever, right? Or at least for a long period of time, Zila, Dan Heng. If we go based off of the rumors that are going around, which I mean, like the rumors kind of make sense, even if it was because I think business-wise that would be a financially smart decision. When the PlayStation version comes out, we're supposed to be getting our first rerun for Zila because they don't have any of the characters that we've already had. So if PlayStation comes out, let's say 1.4, well now you have Topaz, Jinglu, and Zila all running at the same, or I guess maybe Jinglu and then Zila or whoever's first at the same time, right? So you have the double banner started, and now it's like, okay, Jinglu has to either do similar, if not more damage than Zila or Dan Heng, and if she doesn't, the obvious answer would be, okay, everybody that missed Zila just pull Zila, right? And so now Jinglu's sales go down, Zila's go back up. And it repeats. It's just going to keep repeating. If Topaz doesn't do anywhere like near S tier damage, don't pull. There's no reason to, right? Because now you have Blade S tier, you have Kafka S tier. You do have thighs. I love it.
Yeah, the waifu factor. You can't forget about the waifu factor when it comes to Jinglu and Topaz. So like,
bro, and she got the little trotter.
I don't care about the trotter, but I love Topaz.
I do.
I've seen so many people say, I don't care if I heal the enemy back to full health. I'm gonna E6 Jinglu. They said that.
I'm still pulling her. I'm still pulling her.
Yeah, back. I'm pulling too.
You know, but like metaphor or meta wise, you know, there's not really
meta wise.
And with Dan Heng putting out so much damage right now, even with the E2 comment, I didn't even know that. Like Poke just told it to me. So now I'm considering pulling E2 because at that point you've created such a monster of a DPS character. You don't need another DPS, right? You only have Silverwolf, then you have Dan Heng. Game over. Nothing else in the game. Who's going to resist you? They would have to purposely make an enemy that's immune to imaginary damage, not resistant. It would have to be immune to imaginary damage.
I wouldn't put it behind them in all honesty.
I was going to say, yeah, man, Honkai Impact, they made some stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't touch me with this. And I'm
like, in Honkai, they have bosses where you can only do dot damage, or you can only do damage that is of that type, or it won't do anything.
Shit, that's crazy.
Yeah, so there's a lot of
crazy things. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's fun because like it forces you to pull for whatever it is they're trying to get you to pull. It sucks because
it does,
they do this kind of stuff. They make these busted ass units, then they're like busted for 6 months, and then like, hey, we don't want this character relevant at all anymore. Every other boss from this point forward will just beat the shit out of whatever that busted unit is.
That's what they do.
Yeah. So I'm like,
it's so cheap, very cheap way to
It's a horrible way to like nerf whatever it is that they got going on. But it's telling for the future, and it's problematic. There's so many issues with Dan Heng being as strong as he is right now that could arise. It doesn't mean that they will, but they could arise if they don't want Dan Heng to be as popular, because that will happen if he's so strong. It gets to a point where they're affecting sales. Okay, like we've released 10 different DPS characters. None of them have sold outside of $300,000 or $500,000 collectively. Why is that? What's going on? Oh, you go check all the YouTubers or all the comments, the Reddit threads, whatever. Dan Heng is too strong. There's no point in pulling any other character besides Dan Heng or Zila. So they only pull for Dan Heng and Zila. We have to nerf them. We have to create something in the game that just destroys Dan Heng at that point. And that would be, okay, well now we're gonna create an enemy that every time it hits you, it takes away a skill point. We're gonna create a status effect, a new status effect game, where your skill points are locked. You can only have 2 skill points max. We're going to create a enemy that's immune to imaginary damage. We're going to create something that has 100% resistance penetration to whatever the hell is going on. They will fuck this game up if they start affecting sales. And it's a problem. It's a big problem to even think about the company. Like people don't imagine how much power Hoyoverse has and how petty they will get behind their sales. It's ridiculous. So I don't know, man. It's just
it. To be honest, all those things you said about those effects, even though they all sound really like, oh my god, that's gonna be crazy. I wouldn't mind if they put them in the game. I'm not gonna lie.
I wouldn't mind if I had like backups, but
what do you mean backups?
Well, okay, think about it this way. Poke's gonna do it. I'm debating it. Let's say that you pulled E2 Dan Heng. You've already got his light cone. You've got him, and you shot for E2. You've done 4 investments into one character. 2 months or 2 patches later, they drop everything that I just
irrelevant.
said. They drop a character that's immune or a boss that's immune to imaginary. So all of MOC after MOC what 4 or 6, everything after MOC 6 imaginary resistant. Like they immune. You can't touch me with imaginary damage. Then they drop something just a backdoor, just a backdoor that, and they're like, okay, well, even if you somehow get around this, we're gonna make an enemy that sucks away your skill point. So they're like double nerfing. They're taking away Zila's capability and they're taking away Dan Heng's capability on purpose. You'd be pissed off.
Well,
I spent like almost $1,000, right? And I can't use this character that I spent $1,000 on.
Okay, but you're talking to the worst possible person for this, because they do that in Honkai Impact, and I still go for the next character. So like, it doesn't matter to me.
Target audience. You're the target audience.
I literally they make a character come out, and then they flip the bosses up, make it to where you can't really use them anymore. Or they bring out the Powercreep version of them, like they're no longer used. I've already dealt with that multiple times in Honkai Impact. So it's like, for me personally, I'm not speaking for the community. I think for the most of the free-to-play community, these type of changes will hurt them for sure. It's gonna make it a lot harder and a lot more strict on what they're gonna have to summon on if it does it. But for me personally, I'm talking for myself, not for anyone here, not for the audience. I personally don't mind, because I think that's okay. If I say it's fun to spend money, no, but I think adding mechanics, new mechanics, and trying out new characters is the way I have fun. That's why I get everybody. I could technically solo everything with Sela and Blade. I didn't need Kafka. I didn't need Dan Heng, but I wanted to get that because I wanted to try someone new, and I like these characters. So that's the main reason I like summoning for characters. So
I'm with you on that. I can agree. I'm with you on that for sure. Especially with the new mechanics. But that's what I meant by like the backup. Like if I have which I would, because I spend money.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of this in like
it's a free to play.
If I didn't have the luxury to spend that money, would this piss me off? And if Dan Heng's out right now, and all of our guides have said it, right? Dan Heng's cracked out, he's broken, he's busted, he's the new best DPS in the game. Like without a doubt, if you don't have your DPS characters already covered, pull this character. Even if you do have these DPS characters covered, pull this character anyway. Like he's crept his way into as close to must pull as possible without being a must pull, just based off of if you want the damage. Like you don't need them.
Yeah, you don't need them.
If you had the opportunity to get them and you passed it, it's almost foolish at this point. So if you do it, and then like, all right, cool, 2 patches later, immune. Imaginary immune. Like as a free to play player, I'd be pissed off, man. I'd be like, damn it, I spent so much on all my Jades on this character, and then they released this bullshit, and I can't get the new character.
Yeah, I can see.
I've been building supports this whole time. No more DPS for me.
I'd
be mad as hell.
I can definitely see how that'd be annoying. All right, Destiny, go ahead. I know it's been a minute. I'm so sorry, but go ahead.
You're fine.
Go get all your stuff out for him.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, I do think he's really, really strong, and I do feel like, and I've actually had this discussion with other creators as well, but essentially he sets the bar very high now. So it's either the next DPS characters are going to be as strong as him, or they're not, and at that point you're pulling for the purpose of their play style or design, whatever it is, which that's also fine. But I feel like because of the bar being so high now, it's harder to, especially I feel like in a creator standpoint, how do I basically tell you like, okay, you should pull this character or you shouldn't? Because like, let's say they already have Dan Heng IL and they're like, oh, should I pull Topaz? But then we see that Topaz doesn't do anywhere near as much damage, hypothetically. Okay, well, how can I recommend it other than, I guess, fire DPS and then also design and whatnot? Like, I know for a fact I want her, but that just comes down to the design.
Yeah.
So I feel like even for people recommending you characters, DPS characters in particular, now it becomes a little more difficult other than if the reasoning is playstyle or design. So I think that's kind of just my thoughts on it. I feel like I don't think he's exactly a bad thing, but I think that I feel like he released too soon. That's just how I feel.
I can see that. I honestly can't.
Like if he released in like 1.5, okay, fair. Like that's kind of fair. The game has been out now for like a good amount of months. I mean, it's still been out for a good amount of months, but like we have like basically a Zila level strong character now, and people already felt their way about Zila, as we all know. Which to the Zila haters, you should have just pulled.
I do think for sure that at this point, Sela, And I don't know how y'all feel about me saying it that way about her name, but that's how I say it. But Sele, in my opinion, I like how we keep using her as the bar because she was very, very, very strong on release. Like, I mean, at this point, people were like, if you didn't pull for her at her first banner, you're gonna pull for her on her rerun because she's just that good. But now we're seeing that that's not a thing anymore. Like, we are seeing Don Hung, we are seeing people, of course, summon for Kafka because she's an enabler / doing all the stuff she does, right? We have a lot of stuff going on in regards to shaking up that bar we had that all of us think that Sele was just right there at the, you go ahead and pull for her when she comes back because she's just that strong. And now with Don Hunk, in my personal opinion, I've heard everyone here say he's like cracked, he's bad. My opinion, although yes, he's doing 300k, doing 400k easily. He gets his own skill points, whatever. And I said that was very strong in the first podcast episode. I don't think he is necessarily terrible for the game, nor do I think he's S+ tier. I honestly don't think so, just because I think I have a different criteria when it comes to, you know, I would like to see big numbers, but if that big number is going to sacrifice other things that are going to be part of the team, then I don't really want it. Like I said, he's still S tier in my opinion, yes, but I don't really put a lot of characters S+ tier because I reserve that to, you might want to summon for them when they come out because they're gonna just change everything. And for Don Hung, when you all say like, okay, the next DPS has to do 400k, 300k on one skill point now, right? Because now we already set that bar that 300k is what he's able to do constantly, normally, easily, right? I've seen this in another gacha game where we started off at 100ks, 200ks, right? 300k. That was normal damage at that point. Now in that gacha game, they're in the like 6 millions in damage when it comes to the damage that they're doing, right?
Way too much.
So they're like
What game are you talking about?
Dokkan, like Dragon Ball Dokkan.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah,
game.
yeah,
Yeah, that game. It goes from
okay.
100k to 200k was normal at that point. Now we're in the 6.8 millions where they're doing multiple of it, like 6.8 million, 6.8 million, like as one character by itself at this point. So
yeah, like the newer character that just came out, right?
yeah, the Vegito and the Zamasu, like they are doing multiple things. They have defense, guaranteed dot. They have so many different things in their kit at this point that it went from a 1 sentence passive to now almost 2 paragraphs worth. They technically can fix their version of, you know, bar stacking by just infinitely making the enemy's HP higher and making the damage higher. They can go that route, or as y'all said, if is it to the point where Don Hung is really messing up the game where that damage is too easy to hit, they're definitely going to bring something back. They're definitely going to be like, no skill points for you. We already have the form of skill point reduced through the new weekly boss. So it's not like that's not already a thing. We also have HP, max HP loss. That's a thing as well. So they're not scared to add in new mechanics that are going to change the way a lot of the characters work. So we could end up seeing a lot of stuff in MOC pop up where it's like, you lose a skill point, you lose a skill point, you can't get this back, just like the flowers.
Everybody loses a skill point.
Yeah, like it's GG for whoever is skill point heavy at that point. So yeah, they have multiple ways of resolving this, but I do agree with everyone here saying that if they don't show out with the next few units, with Jingliu, with Topaz, with the eventual rerun of Sele, they're going to definitely see people summon a lot less now. Like, there's going to be constantly saving and saving until they do see that character that can do 500k with 1 skill point or 2 skill points, whatever, or have guaranteed, like, I don't know, some other effect that's going to be buffing the crap out of someone. So DPSs right now are in a shaky state. I do think that's a scary thing to think about, because as Destiny said, how are we as content creators, which I love that she brought up that aspect, how are we as content creators going to be able to say, you should maybe summon on him, you should maybe not, when Don Hung is like here, and then the next DPS is right here, you know, in terms of damage. So I do like that content creator perspective of, it's going to be hard for us to make guides and to be able to say, you should do this, you should do that, which of course are all suggestions at the end of the day. But other than us saying, oh, wait for Don Hung, or wait for the next character that hits 500k, that is scary, in all honesty. Anyone else have any closing remarks on that, or we want to go to the next topic, which I think the next topic is going to be fun. I do think.
Oh, one more thing. I feel like they're releasing too many DPSs. They need to release more supportive characters.
Yes. I do think
like,
DPS is
like literally 1.4 is dripped to be 2 DPSs again. And I'm like, we just got 3 DPSs in a row.
That is
true. And the only support we're getting is next patch. Yeah, and it's like, it's make more supports.
Yeah, we do need more supports for sure.
I guess, like, if I were to piggyback on that, what kind of supports? Because maybe if
harmonies.
Like, okay, I was gonna say like harmonies.
Where's our limited harmony? Like, where is it?
Where's quantum harmony? We don't have quantum harmony.
Limited harmony. Like, you know how busted that would be if you had.
Nah, bro. They're gonna make a limited harmony. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Limited harmony is like, you know what? I do what Bronya does times 10.
Oh my god, let's not
the
start
whole
this.
team forward.
I'd uninstall the game.
You get to go
I
3 turns in a
advanced the
row.
whole team forward.
I would uninstall the game, bro. Like nothing should replace Queen Bronya. That's the queen right
All
there.
right,
You can't do that.
Mr. Pokey, you were about to say something before everyone started screaming.
Yeah, I just want to say it's unrelated to this, but it's funny that you mentioned something about the MOC, right? Something going forward, maybe they inflict some kind of skill point debuff or kind of things to like limit down his. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting plan, and I feel that because right now, right, we have MOC buffs, so every single 2 weeks we gain a buff for a specific thing. I think they could go forward in the future. They have a buff plus a debuff.
Ooh.
So the debuff is cycled. Yeah, it cycles every 2 weeks. So maybe that particular week, maybe like everybody gets like -3 skill points.
Oh my
but it only lasts for 2 weeks.
-3 skill
-3 skill points.
No,
I don't know. Yeah,
I
some
like
crazy
that.
shit, right?
I like that.
Yeah,
though.
but 2 weeks later,
Start
2 weeks
the
later,
game
you can
with
still use
nothing.
Dunhing again.
Holy.
Bro,
So it's
Poke,
like a-
Poke be thinking
Yeah,
about
it's like it
the
keeps things fresh.
wildest
It keeps things
shit.
fresh.
He thinks of the wildest shit.
Yeah,
First
he
it's
does,
5
bro.
Kafkas.
Yes.
Now it's this.
Nah, you know,
Put
it's
him
the
on the
Monster
team. Put
Hunter
him on the
player in him.
team.
It's the Monster Hunter player in him, bro. Because they'll be like, all right, cool, fight a silver or not silver. No, I'm right. Fight a silver Rathalos, fight a gold Rathian, fight a golden Rajang, and then
Yes,
fight
sir.
like a Barrios or a Kizu.
Yeah,
Yeah, they'll
dude.
give you some crazy
Yeah,
ass
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
It's like, how am I supposed to fight all this? Oh yeah, they all have full health, no diminished half health. They all do 2 times the damage, and you only have 3 mega potions. Good luck.
Good luck.
And you're naked.
Yes,
I'm like,
sir.
oh my god.
Yeah, but man,
That's what made the game fun. Like if you get it sparks discussion amongst the community. Like for example, Elden Ring, right? Elden Ring is so bloody, like so many people talking about it because nobody could freaking clear Millennia because it's so bloody hard.
Yeah,
Difficult
yeah.
content is what sparks discussion within the community. So if the game gets too easy, then like nobody will be even talking about the content anymore. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for
I
sure.
do want to see some challenging MOC in the future.
yeah,
I'm with him on this
hey,
one now. Take the skill points away.
take the skill points
start
away.
the nerf,
You
start
know-
the debuffs every 2 weeks. Drop -3 skill points. Earn your points, bro.
Earn your points. You start off literally at negative value, but
Yes,
why
sir.
do I feel like I could see? Like I don't know why. I could literally see it vividly where they skill point max cap. Like no more 5 skill points. It's like you're max cap at 3 now. And you know how messed up that'd be for so many different teams.
That would hard nerf. No, I'm still right. Yeah, that would hard nerf Don Han.
So would it do selling?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
There's a lot
Well,
of
no,
characters.
not her, because she can function
Nerf.
with skill and basic.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
that's
but
something that a lot of people don't even look at with Zila is that like her basic attack advances are 4, but like 40 or 20%, whatever it is. So it's like skill and then basic, or like you pick up a kill with the basic and then you do the skill
Yeah.
after that, and then you some points because she's so fast after using her skill, she just goes right like immediately after herself. She goes again, and that's how you're supposed to operate that character. So I think it'd be fine for her, but. Then you get into like adding your buff.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Overall, a team composition, it depends how you build it. Having a max cap of 3 skill points will hard nerf a lot of characters, or will make rotations at this point very hard to manage, because now you got to know, okay, I got to use these skill points. I can't like let it go up to 5, or I can't let it go up to 5 anymore. Now I'm at 3. So you're constantly gonna have to use them. You can't save them. Like you really can't like plan your way around it. So I would make a whole new aspect of like you playing MOC or building team comps, because now you're gonna have to be like, okay, I need a fat ton of neutral or positive skill point characters at this point. I can't use my Omega crazy Don Hung, or I can, but I won't be able to level 3 as much possibly, because I don't know if I'll have my ult up. I don't know if I'll have it to a point where I'll have enough skill points if I don't have my ult up.
Dude, imagine getting punched so hard by the monkey that you just drop to like 1 HP,
oh
but
my
you can't
God.
heal.
Oh my
Ah!
bro, I promise you, every time I stream or anything with MOC, or when I do Blades relic domain, every time I see that monkey I get triggered. I
hate that monkey.
I
Bro,
dude,
right?
Bronya buzz
Like-
blade. Boom! Bronya gets beat.
Every time too,
Bronya
man. I'm like,
gets
dude, can I
beat
get a
down.
buff? Like, please.
Bro,
And
he
then the-
punches Bronya to the end of
Oh,
time.
bro.
I think the combo that I hate the most is when you know that like lined up, your whole team goes after he does his little like thing and he charges, right? He's like, all right, as soon as somebody does a skill, I'm putting a target on their back, and then you kill the dog,
Oh my
either through
God.
AOE or on purpose, and he's like, oh
Yeah.
your frail character just used their skill. My turn now. Action advance. Wham! I'm like, come the fuck on, bro. There's no way you just did this shit.
My runs have ended so many times because Bronya gets pummeled by his infinitely stacking attack, going bam,
Yeah.
bam, bam. Like,
Is he
man.
in MOC yet?
Yeah, he's been in MOC.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I haven't been playing MOC, bro.
Nah, he's crazy.
I need to play on my account. I haven't been doing it.
Yeah,
yeah,
he's crazy.
that
And then, like,
enemy.
when you have like Payla on
Well,
the
it
team.
resets like tomorrow or today in it.
Yeah,
like
it's
MOC.
tonight,
Yeah,
tonight,
Splatoon.
resets
What?
tonight.
Yeah, soon. You
Uh-oh.
need to get it
Yeah,
done.
I'm logging
all
in
the-
right now.
Yeah, but
All the
definitely.
best, bro.
Oh.
All
I'm
the
glad they
best.
added characters
All
like
the
that,
best.
enemies like that, though. It makes it a little bit more
it's
fun.
fun.
Yeah,
it
it
is
definitely does
fun.
make
That's
it more
why I
fun.
agree with Poke. Like,
Yeah,
I
for sure, for
want
sure.
the difficult content.
Mhm.
I don't think that I
Yeah.
want it like the Dokkan thing. I would hate if we got difficult content, and because of the difficult content, they kept
Raising the bar.
increasing the power. Yeah.
kept raising
Because
it.
now you do get to the
Mm,
Dokkan thing where 300 to 600,000 is like crazy good damage for us
Mhm.
now. Well, I don't know, 1.8. They've done everything that we talked about, and now we're looking at 1.5 million damage on
Yeah,
average.
exactly.
That's way too much damage for a game like this to just be pumping out.
Mhm.
Just to do it, you know.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. All right, now with Dan Heng out of the way, we've gotten our yeses and nos when it comes to Dan Heng. I want to talk about the second half because we're pretty much almost there. We're gonna get there very soon, which is going to be Xuan and Lynx. Because I think this is when it comes to Xuan and Lynx.
Oh, we can talk about her. Oh, okay.
Xuan
cool.
and Lynx. So by far, a lot of people have been iffy because there are a lot of people, seeing Dan Heng do a lot of damage. Of course, we're seeing like 300k, all that type of stuff. But we gotta remember that Xuan is gonna be one of our first preservation characters that is a 5-star, and that is a big plus to a lot of people. A very big plus that we're actually gonna be able to guarantee ourselves a preservation unit that's not Japar because we can't get them easily unless you use them with your 300 pull. We can't we have Fire MC, but he's only one carrier that you can actually have. So at this point, Xuan, and especially with Lynx being how cracked her kit is, how cracked we've seen her be in the stream, with her being able to do AoE cleanse, her being able to continuous heal, all that type of stuff. How do y'all think, in regards to what we know so far about Xuan and Lynx, that people should look at Imbibitor Lunae or Xuan and Lynx? Because I think there's a lot of value, and I mean a fat ton, on Xuan's banner. Like, it's almost
Depends on who you have, to be fair, because you could
Yeah.
just like Moon said earlier, we know we're getting the next 2 DPS characters in 1.4. We don't know what's coming in 5 or 6, but I mean they drip feed everything, so they're gonna tell us. In, like,
we'll know
2
by
or
the
3
time
weeks anyway.
Fushwan's banner is up or halfway done.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
almost done.
That's
We'll know
crazy
who's
to
coming
think
in
about.
0.5.
I was
Yeah,
like,
and
here you
so-
go. Here's a little sizzle.
I hate that they do that a
Gotta
little
keep you
bit.
interested.
It's good, but
Mhm.
it's bad at the same time.
Dopamine.
I hate it.
It's
I
like,
hate
oh
it
my
so
god.
I
because
hate that they do it so much.
you're on Fushwan's banner, right? And you're like, okay, I might go for Jingliu or Topaz. I might go for either or. And then you see some other 2 characters that look cool, like, I don't know if I want to go for
They're
Fushwan
about
anymore.
to introduce like another Bronya at this
Oh
point.
my
It's like,
god!
whoa.
I was like, no way.
Yep.
But what do y'all think so far? Like, what you've seen? Of course, our first preservation unit that we're getting limited wise. Lynx overall, how she looks in terms of being a 4-star healer, finally giving us another healer besides Natasha for a lot of the free-to-play players that didn't pull for Luocha. How do y'all feel about Fushwan and Lynx?
I have a hot take.
Okay.
I
Okay, go for it, go for
think this is by far one of the best free to play banners.
Oh no, I do think so.
Because
Mhm.
you're getting Fushwan. Now, I think Silverwolf was one of the best free to play
Mhm,
5-stars
for
because you're limited in the 5-stars you get. So the weakness implantation was always really good. But on this banner, if you don't have the sustains, which a lot of people do not have Japard, they might not even have Bailu, they might not even have Locha. Almost forgot about him. Oh my god. But you're basically getting a banner with 2 sustains that
Mhm.
look like they have incredibly promising kits. I mean, Lynx has a team-wide cleanse. Like, we
yeah,
don't
that's
have that
already
yet.
crazy enough, to be
We
honest.
can now handle the 5 Kafkas, no problem. Lynx is gonna be like, heal everyone.
To be
It all
honest,
makes
those,
sense.
those,
It's coming, it's coming,
those
it's
wizards
coming.
though already do that. The thing is that the wizards, the little lady wizards, they already do that though. Like, you get unlucky and they debuff everyone at the same time. Like, they have that seal
Unlucky.
thing.
I thought it was guaranteed the way they hit them.
No, it's not guaranteed.
They have like 140% effect hit rate or something.
No, they already kind of have that. So a lot of the runs, and especially if Mr. Pokey's idea of 5 Kafkas at the end of the day happens, yeah, Lynx is by far going to make sure that we don't have to deal with that.
We can handle it. Yeah, but
He does.
team-wide cleanse, team-wide heal, increased aggro
Oh,
on
that's gonna be so
preservation and
good.
destruction. She's literally the destruction character. You put her with Clara. Clara's gonna go boom. Wait, no, it's not
Yeah.
Clara that does that, but you get my
Solara.
point. Just the laser just goes boom all the time.
Oh, man.
And also for Blade, now his follow-up attacks will probably be way more consistent, which now allows you to do more ultimate damage. She is just like she's a 6-star in disguise.
In my opinion,
sorry.
yes. In my
I
opinion.
think she's like her kit.
Oh, Pokey's
he's
like,
like,
no. Pokey's like, you done
No,
effed up.
Whoa,
I'm excited to see it, though. I'm excited to hear it.
I think she just has a lot of utility. Like, she has a lot of the things that you would want in a healer, just overall. I guess the only thing she's missing is
skill point. A bunch of Pokey's like, skill point, skill point.
It gives me all skill points. Yeah, but that's really it. I feel like she's a really good option. Like, if you are free to play, especially, even I'm going to pull her and build her. She's really, really promising from what it looks like. And then Fu Xuan is another preservation class character with what it looks like a lot of damage mitigation. So I feel like she'll be really promising as well. And both of them allow the mono quantum. So if you did pull for Zila, I feel like it's like, oh,
so
cool.
fun.
Like, I think that team might become one of the strongest.
No,
teams.
it should be one of the strongest team. Like, the relic set for Quantum, it ignores defense. Like, you get the innate ignores defense, and then you have guaranteed Quantum if they don't have a Quantum already on them from Silverwolf.
Yeah,
it's just over for any boss at this point if you run mono Quantum. Like, that could be a perma team for most teams.
Yeah, imagine though if there was like a relic set that did that, but for imaginary.
Well, I mean, imaginary you kind of don't need it at this point. I'm not gonna say at this point, but is that a thing for? Or is that's an Eidolon, right? Donald has like imaginary penetration.
Oh, that's E6. That's E6.
Nah, bro. At E6, he's like, oh, I only do 300,000. Well, now I do 5 million.
Yeah.
Now I'm Dokkan.
Yeah, that bro. E6 looks insane. No one has seen one, or has anyone tested one by any chance?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, there's a guy on my server. He literally hit 1 million. Yeah, he literally hit 1 million E6. Yeah, like a single 3 skill point attack is 1 million.
Oh my
so
God.
with E6 it's times 2, so that's 2 million. With the ultimate, probably 2.5 million.
Oh, you have to send me that clip or that video. I have to watch it.
And it's
There's no video, but he just showed a screenshot. Yeah, I can show the screenshot. Yeah,
it's so easy though.
That's crazy.
Because he gets his penetration stacks from just other allies ulting. Like, that's so free.
Yeah.
Like, that is insane, bro. And with the amount of ults that add so much value, you have Bronya, you have Ting Yun, you have Asta, you have all these other crazy characters that can easily ult and benefit everyone on the team. Dear Lord. But Mr. Pokey.
Yeah, it's really good.
good.
But I think that's it, honestly. I just think that banner is really, really promising. I think 1.3 overall is very, very strong on the banners. Like, these two banners are really, really good. I feel like every patch has relatively good banners. I feel like 1.1 was really, really strong too. Like, the Locha and Silverwolf combo was really, really strong. Obviously, 1.0 was the Zila, and then I feel like every banner has a really promising character. Like, I don't think any of the limited characters are. I'm gonna stop right there.
I was about to whisper.
I was like, wait,
Jing, you won.
Wait,
He's right there waiting.
Well, no, it's not that he's bad. It's just like, in comparison, I just feel like this podcast is not meant for him. But point is, every patch has a good banner, regardless of what goes on. I will say though, they have put Pela on so many banners.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You don't have
He's like, oh, I'm back.
Yes, sir.
Pela's great. Like, she's a great option.
She's really good.
No, she is good.
Yeah,
really good.
It's just like, why? Are we supposed to E6 her? Is this canon?
It's because we don't have a lot of 4-stars right now. We really don't.
Those are kind of trash though.
Bro,
Pelas are kind of trash.
E4 though.
Way better.
E4 though. E4 is kind of insane when you think about it. The ice penetration, that's gonna be insane for Jingli when she comes out. It's gonna be absolutely.
That's what they're building it up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Watch her be
with her and Yang as well.
Yeah, Yang
Watch her be on Jinglu's banner too.
You know, I don't
think they'll do that. I think they're setting it up. And Hoyo always does this. They'll set it up so they give you characters that would be good for a 5-star later on, like the very next patch. But you don't want to pull on this patch because it's not a character that you want. So it's complete FOMO.
Oh my god! All right, Mr. Pokey, what do you think about Xuan and Lynx? I know you thought something controversial when we said Lynx was a 6-star.
Okay, no, the first thing, no, before even that, like, because you mentioned just now, for players who don't have Japard, and then you might not probably get him, or you use him for your Trend 7. Oh my god, I literally just saw, like, because I was doing account reviews, there's this viewer I had, and he spent his 300 pulls on Japard, but not Bronya. So his account had Japard, but not Bronya. They're like, oh my god, bro.
Oh,
Yeah, so for the love
no.
of God, right, if, to all the people watching this, please don't spend your 300 summons on Japard.
Yeah,
If
use
you
it on
don't have
Himiko.
Bronya. Bronya should be your number one priority.
Me just looking at my video
Just wanna
like
get that out of the way.
Yeah, make sure to get Himiko with it, okay? No, do not do that. Please don't do that.
I
It's
was,
just
I was
funny.
gonna spend my 300 on Himiko, like, but my intentions.
I didn't Clara.
Yeah, my intentions were
Bronya.
that I would have gotten everyone else by that point, and Himiko would be the one that has evaded me the whole time. That's just not what happened. I ended up getting two Himikos. I'm like, all right, bro.
Day two,
Dude.
I spent the whole 300 just to get Bronya. I was like, she's coming on my account right now, and I didn't know how broken she was at the start because of course it was the start of the game. Not everyone knew the immense amount of craziness she is. I just wanted her because she was Bronya at that point. So I spent.
Yeah.
spent the money instead of just like the reroll.
What do you mean,
process.
bro? The reroll? No, I wanted everything to be on one account, man. That's too much work.
No, I feel
That's
that.
too
Like
much work. I
when
respect
I
that.
did
That's
it,
too much work.
like my standard character I got was Bailu, which in the beginning of the game Bailu was like great.
Mhm.
And then on the Zila banner, I think I got Zila in like 40 pulls, and then 20 pulls later I got Bronya. And I was
my
like, oh my god, the wives.
crack.
they're here.
Oh my god.
Insane.
All right, go ahead.
That's insane.
Continue, Mr. Pokey.
Yeah. But speaking on Fusion, I think there's a very different market. I think for like free to place, especially like what you mentioned, if they don't have any good sustain unit. And what I mean by sustain is basically abundance or preservation, right? Because if you guys okay, or at least in my opinion, if you guys have built your team properly, your team should be able to sustain themselves with just one sustain, right? Either one preservation or one abundance, right? One Luocha, one Bailu, or one Natasha, right? One March 7. They should be able to sustain your team. So if you guys, for players who do not have any good sustain units like Japard, Luocha, Bailu, yeah, then Fusion is going to be an excellent choice. And I would dare say even better than Imbibitor because like we know there's going to be more DPS coming out in the future, right? So DPS is like, there's going to be so many anyways. So yeah, that's on one side, pretty good for free to place without a good sustain. But on the other hand, I feel that, or at least from my perspective, players that are already, for example, at a point where they don't even need healers in their team, probably don't need Fusion as much. So what I mean is, if you can already clear a content with 1 DPS plus 3 support, and Imbibitor literally enable this for like so easily, right? Because he does so much damage. So to the point where I really just need 1 sustain for my other team, right? Because my first team, I can just run Imbibitor, slap on 3 supports, and just gonna wipe everything. Doesn't even need a sustain. So at this point, I guess we just have to, or ask myself, do I really need more and more sustains, or do I just want the best of the best DPS, which straight up just clears the game easier for me, right? So yeah, that's what I stand. But this is nothing related to Fusion's kit. Like, Fusion could be the best sustain in the world. It could be like Luocha on roids. But if my team doesn't need a sustain because I'm really defending the stage, then I just don't need sustain. I don't care if you heal me for 10,000 HP. I just want to kill the boss as soon as possible because it's not that relevant to me anymore. So that's just what I think about preservation or rather sustain units in general. So I don't really value them as much as compared to if I already have a team that can do like no sustain clear, right? So that's that. But on Fusion's kit itself, okay, let's talk about the banner first. We don't talk about the kit first, right? Because Fusion's banner, she has Pella, she has Hook, and she has Lynx. Yeah, I think Lynx is like super good because especially if you're unlucky, right? You try to pull a Fusion, you didn't get Fusion. If you at least got Lynx, now free to place will have 2 sustains. For both teams, which is huge because we still only have 1 free sustain, right? So if you're really unlucky, March 7 or 5MC might not be able to sustain as well as compared to, for example, Lynx. So I think that's really good. But the other 2 units, I personally don't feel that they're that great. Their Idolins or like their role itself. I think Pella is fine, right? Her E4 is decent for Ice DPS, but as of right now, we don't really need it unless you're a Yanqing main. But I don't think most people play Yanqing, so I don't think Pella's Islands are that great. Hook, I can't really speak about it, right? She just feels a little bit underwhelming compared to all the DPS that we see right now. So I feel that her banner is like hunting for 1 in 3. Like I really want that Lynx, but I don't really care for Pella and Hook, especially their Idolins. Lynx, I really want. So compared to like, for example, like Imbibitor's banner, in my opinion, has more value because Asta's Idolins as well as wait, what's the other one again? Asta,
one?
March, and
Yukong.
one more.
Is Asta marching
Yukong.
Yukong?
Oh yeah, Asta and Yukong. Yeah, Asta and Yukong's items are really, really good. Asta's E4 enables her to out every 3 turns by using skill auto attack. And Yukong's E6 just straight up like
Oh yeah, it's
I think
busted,
one of the
dude.
best
It's,
E6
yeah,
for
for
support.
sure.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
for sure.
So like it's her Yukong's E6 is so good that I wouldn't even recommend players using her unless you have E6. It's just that great. You could use her, but it's just very, very problematic. So in terms of banner value, I actually value Imbibitor's banner more. Like assuming that you don't even get Imbibitor or Fusion, I just like Imbibitor's banner more. Just because their items are worth more, right? Because for Lynx, I could just get 1 copy and call it a day. And imagine who knows, like I might get an extended banner or something like that. But to get like the items is gonna be way more difficult than just getting a single copy. So that's that. And lastly, for Fusion's kit herself, I think she's gonna be probably around the same level of Shepard, but maybe not the same level of Luocha, because her kit has a lot of sustain and damage mitigation, share damage, all this kind of stuff is really, really good. But I feel she's not the same level of Luocha, because Luocha is a sustain that doesn't need to use skill points for the most part. Like you can essentially just permanently use him to generate skill points for a team. But I believe Fuxuan needs to use skill points. And that reason alone makes me feel she's not as good as Luocha, because I feel that the primary role of a sustain is not only do you have to keep your team alive, but you also need to generate skill points for your team.
That makes sense.
And if you can't generate skill points for a team, then I feel that the value like drastically goes down for a sustain. So yeah, that's all.
I kind of see that is true though. Like if you are a sustain, you need to be giving skill points because you're not doing damage. So you got to do something else as well. So I actually do. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, what in Fuxuan's case, you know, just based off of what we've seen in the stream, there are 2 options here. I haven't confirmed or denied anything, or confirmed or not confirmed anything yet. But Silverwolf is a support with multipliers that match Zealous. Fuxuan's ultimate does damage and some other shit apparently. What if the multipliers on that ultimate are like Zealous? And then at that point, with Quantum and everything else that we know about Quantum, you are now able to do some pretty good damage. So I think Fuxuan might be like in the middle. Like I'm not doing any damage with Japard. I'm not really doing any damage with my Locha, even though he has high attack. Well, mine doesn't, but other people's do. He's just kind of there, right? Like they do their job and that's fine. I feel like Fuxuan is going to be able to do Japard's job, but also
do Luocha's type of damage or something like that.
She's definitely not doing Luocha's job. Like he,
well, not Luocha's job, but like since his ult was also damaging, like she, I think in my honestly opinion, her ult is gonna be really good for shield breaking. Like it's gonna make it just a lot easier to clear a bunch of mobs out with the ult. I think is that what you're trying to say? Like the utility with the ult in terms of shield breaking, or
I
like
think her kit is more utility, like it has more utility
compared
than
to
the other 2. Yeah,
than
like
the other 2.
both
Wait, both
Japard
Luocha?
and because Luocha's only thing that we care about, like let's be real, we just care about the fact that he can heal without using a skill point. That's kind of all it is. The ultimate being able to strip the
buff,
enemy,
yeah,
that's fine too. I'm not gonna complain about that either, but it's not something that I glorify so much that I need it, if you will. Because most of the things that we're fighting now, right? I'm assuming we're gonna be removing the, what do you call them? The shape specters, or the
wait, which ones?
Life of Menacanus, with the healer dudes, right? They revive. They have to get phased out immediately. I don't want them here no more.
Bro, they're so annoying, bro.
They're gonna get phased out at some point, which means we won't need to remove and strip that buff from like multiple enemies at one time, which will then further decrease Locha's value outside of him only needing to heal without using a skill. I think Fuxuan or a Japard comes into play. You build a Japard, right? Well, by the time my shield would go away, I just have it back. Like I'm just gonna do it again, and then now we're all good to go. In Fuxuan's case, Fuxuan doesn't give you the shield, but she has like this imaginary extra damage, and she mitigates the crap out of it. And just like I said before, if her mitigation is similar to what you mentioned about Fire MC, like the 55 to 65 range, right? And she's mitigating that across the entire team, and she's giving you extra HP on top of that, and she's helping you do damage. Well, now she enters a ballpark where it's like, hey, I might not do the greatest damage, but anyone that, they have all 4 of those enemies have low HP, like a quarter of their HP left. Boom. Oh, they're all gone. Right. And so like now you only have to focus on the main boss. And I took away whatever the boss had. We need a new field. Skill point. Here you go. Now we have the field on there, and the crit. It increases crit too. Rate. So now you get into the whole like,
I forgot about that.
I want to run Rudolent, but I don't want to go farm for another 20% of my crit rate or 15% of my crit rate. Right. all right, well, I'm just gonna use her thingy, and boom, I have the extra crit rate that I need. So now all the criteria that I need to meet for crit rate, I met it. It also doubles. So like for Jing Yuan, you could technically take away his crit rate body, for a crit damage piece, and do a stupid amount of damage uh, to help him, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. But that goes for everybody. So
Depending
many
on how
characters
much
that
crit
get there.
rate Fushuan actually gives, though, because like
Yeah, for
hopefully
sure.
it's
For sure, for
enough.
sure.
Hopefully it's enough. What?
Did they confirm it's actually crit rate? I thought they like
Yeah, you did.
they said crit rate. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know because I
Yeah,
could have
mean,
sworn
the,
they
the
just
live
said
stream
crit,
events. Yeah.
and I'm like,
If they just said
one.
crit, I can only imagine they would be talking about crit rate. Because if someone was like, "Oh yeah, she gives crit,"
Because we already
and
have
you're like,
crit
"All right,
damage buffers. So like
hmm,
we already have crit damage buffers, like
mm-hmm,
Bronya, and then isn't there someone else? I feel like there's someone else and I'm forgetting something. Oh, and
Yukong.
Yukong can do crit rate
Yukong
and crit
gives crit
damage.
damage.
So the only crit
Yeah.
left is crit rate, to be honest, if we think about it hypothetically. If to help someone out. But I completely forgot that she gave max HP and crit like for a good minute.
Mhm.
I completely because
Mhm.
not only is she acting as a sustain, she's also acting as harmony too. So like
Yeah, and then
I
you
can
add
kinda
the
see.
extra like healing continuously that she
Yeah.
gives on top of that. Like now you're all right. The utility behind one character to replace a multitude of characters on any team is really good. And so that's why I was like, like she won't replace Yukon, for instance, right? Which
Mhm.
is obviously valid, but we'll use Don Hung. If I don't even need Yukon to destroy the shit out of you, but I want extra whatever she's giving, I can now bring in a second DPS. It's a horrible example with Don Hung out of all characters, but
True.
I'm using it conceptually and not realistically. It allows you to bring things that you would. It allows you to break the team construct that we have right now. We have specific team constructs that, in my opinion, are very boring, but we have them. Two harmonies and a sustainer in your DPS, or one DPS, one harmony, one nihility, and then sustain. All right. Well, I think Yukong, people play her. I'm not gonna say they play her wrong, but Yukong typically wants to be with two DPSs as it is because of the way that her skill and stuff like that works. Like you're buffing somebody. Why would I buff the sustain?
Oh yeah, that is
Like
true.
he's not
Yeah.
gonna do any damage. Like it doesn't. You're wasting the buff at that point, and you can't control whether or not one character uses it or another. She's meant to be played with two DPS characters. And so if we get to a point where like, all right, now we can have two DPS characters, because it's not Genshin. There's not one character on the field at one time. Like, no, you have both or all four of your characters on the field at one time. Everyone has the opportunity to do damage or heal or shield or whatever it is that you want them to do. So I just think Fu Xuan is going to bring in or help bring in a little bit of a different team construct, if you will. But that's for me to like test out and stuff. So I don't know.
I think Fushuan and especially Lynx will give us new teams. I think they're gonna skyrocket the amount of possibilities we get because now, if you think about it like this, with Lynx, we already know that she's gonna be increasing taunt for preservation and for I always forget the second one. What's the second
Destruction.
one? Yeah, destruction. There you go. We already know that her prime targets are going to be Blade and Clara for sure because you're gonna give taunt, max HP, all that type of stuff. Now, thinking about that means that these characters can now effectively be the sustain units. They can now effectively be the tanks for the team. So now you're having your tank do damage, which is Blade or Clara at this point, because you're going to get the follow-up attacks. You're going to get those beams back now that we have Lynx. So now, since Blade and Clara are both SP neutral or positive characters, they're not taking up what they need from the actual DPS. So now we're going to be able to run DPS, the tank, which is going to be your other the other DPS will be the tank, and then you have your sustain character and your buffer. So now we are going to be getting that sub DPS type of playstyle. I think that's going to be a big factor in the future of how many roles can this person fill. Is he also going to be a sub DPS? Can he work as a sub DPS? Is he only the main DPS? I think now we're going to start seeing the roles mingle a lot more, and it's going to put a lot of value on certain characters in the future, especially like I've already said, Blade and Clara now being the tank, the sub DPS. That's going to help out a lot of teams do a fat ton of damage for no reason, for sure.
Yeah. And it helps you make up for not, if you did, because we're talking about Imbibitor Lunae versus Fu Xuan. Well, if you skip Imbibitor, Fu Xuan's going to help you add, it won't make up for not doing 600,000 damage, right? But it's going to make up for the fact that, all right, one character that I have outputs 100, 150,000, somewhere around there. Another character that I have can also output 100, 150,000. What if I could put them both on the same team and give them the proper buffs they need? All right, well, Fu Xuan lets you do that. Hypothetically, of course. Then boom, there you go.
Yeah, for what was it? I feel like I was gonna say something, and now it like instantly vanished from my mind. I completely forgot what I was about to say. That sucks so bad. I was about to say something about a certain character, and I completely forgot what exactly I was gonna say. So I'm gonna just go ahead and skip that part for what I was gonna do. I'm gonna just go to the next topic at this point because it was really good too. I forgot what it was.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
Yeah, maybe it'll come back while we're talking about it. But at this point, now we're talking about all these type of units. We're talking about Xuan, talked about Lynx, talked about Imbibitor Lunae. Kind of want to go over one character that I think at this point, in my eyes, and I want to get y'all's opinion for sure, Silverwolf, is she now classified in the territory of must pull? Like, you have to get this character when she comes back. You have to get this character when her banner comes back. Because at this point, in my honest opinion, not only is she like implanting the weakness and all that type of stuff, but now with Imbibitor Lunae, we're actually seeing characters get buffs based on the weakness that they have. Now with Imbibitor's Trace, I think it's 24% extra crit damage if they have imaginary weakness.
Yep.
If you're fighting an enemy that does have imaginary weakness, Silverwolf already fixes that extra 24% crit rate, crit damage. So now at this point, is she needed? Like, is she a must pull at this point? Like, you have to get her at this point. You have to.
I have always said Silverwolf is a must pull character. If not the closest thing to a must pull character. Because of that reason alone, I have always been in that boat. It's only been further solidified at this point.
Yeah, with
because I have a motto that I go about. I'm sure you've heard it. You say it all the time. If a character breaks the game, like the mechanics of the game, if they break those mechanics to favor themselves, or in this case, the team, pull them. They are the closest thing to a must pull, right? The reason that Bronya was so sought after in the beginning of the game was because she allowed you to basically skip your turn, right? Like, she played the Uno skip card on everybody on the field at one time. That is breaking the natural laws of the game mechanics. Bronya is up there in like damn near must pull territory, right? Like, if she's not a must pull, then she's right outside of must pull. Zila, one of the reasons Zila is so cracked, she breaks the game's natural mechanics. Hey, I just used a skill point, my turn is over. Psych, I got a kill, my turn is not over. I am playing Yu-Gi-Oh at this point. I get to go again. Oh, I got another kill. I also get to go again. I have my ultimate ready. I'm going to use my ultimate now. I get to go again. Like, she breaks the mechanics of the game. Insert Silverwolf. Hey, I know that everyone has elements, but I don't care. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't care. Sir, I'm quantum immune. You can't touch me. You thought. Silverwolf, you're not immune anymore. Like, whatever you thought you were immune to, you're not. I took it away.
Bro,
I gave you penetration. It's crazy. Like, I made you.
She literally gives them the thumbs down. It's like, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
GG at this point.
She pulls a fucking Vegito. Literally, she does the Vegito hand thing and everything. They're gone. The imaginary thing, just like you mentioned, where now certain characters are getting buffs between who's weak or who's not weak. All right. Well, everybody's not weak to imaginary, and then after this patch, I feel like Imaginary's had its time. Imaginary and Win are going to get phased out because Lochin and Blade and Don Hung aren't going to be around anymore. We're probably going to see Quantum come up next again. So no more Imaginary. All right, well, I pulled Don Hung. I have Silverwolf. You're still weak to Imaginary. Boom, get fucked.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
No, they can't change.
They
can't change the enemies. No matter what, the units that you pull with Silverwolf they're always going to be good because Silverwolf it doesn't matter if they have no weakness. Like, you know how in the Lofu we have Wind and Imaginary of Fat Ton because these enemies are weak to it. Doesn't matter if we go to the next one, it's only Lightning. Silverwolf. Like, it's just gonna you never have to worry about like changing the weakness because you can always change it right back.
And that's only one aspect of her kit. You still have all the debuffs. You still have, I want to put 10% negative speed. I want to lower your attack. I want to lower your defense even further than what I already did.
Her ult be going crazy.
Oh yeah, the damage on her ult.
And then you get into the builds, right? Okay, so I can be a regular Nihility character and I'm just debuffing you. I could be a fast DPS or sub DPS type character because my multipliers are sick as shit. Oh, and then I also have break, which I have like the second strongest break effect in the game. So when you get hit, I'm throwing you all the way the fuck back in the turn order. I'm gonna let my team jump the shit out of you, and then they're gonna you thought you only had 100k HP left? We just popped you on a quantum break for 150k. You're dead. She's easily one of the best characters, if not the best character in the game. Free. If you don't have a Silverwolf on your account is automatically nerfed. Like you just don't get to compete with everyone else. Like even with I just watched the video you guys did, Poke, with the tournament. Y'all nerfed Silverwolf turn 1 or something like that, didn't you?
They banned Silverwolf.
Yeah, we banned her turn 1.
First ban was Silverwolf because she's broken.
The first ban, she was the first ban.
Bro, it's like if you ever did account reviews, you don't see a Silverwolf. Bye.
The account's gone. It's thrown in the trash. GG.
I could not believe so many people were against when
Oh yeah, a
I
lot of
was saying it
bro. A
too.
lot of
Yeah,
people
they
said
was
she was bad.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like, what's
yeah.
wrong with
Mm.
y'all? And they're like, nah, man, she's not gonna be worth it. I could just pull. Why would I waste my pull on Silverwolf when I could just get the appropriate DPS character?
Bro.
Because she makes it so you don't need it. Like, if the only fire DPS character in the game hypothetically was Topaz, and I just did not like Topaz, she was weak, anything like that. Why would I waste my coins or waste my jades on Topaz, who's nowhere near as strong as Blade or Zila, because I need a fire DPS? I could have just pulled Silverwolf and then use Zila and Blade anyway. Oh man, but I don't even have an excuse to use for an analogy. Point being is that Silverwolf is fucking broken. Like, the only valid person I've ever heard say why they don't pull Silverwolf is Tectone. He straight up said, I don't want her because she literally ruins the game for me. If I don't have to play by the game's rules, then it ruins it. And I'm like, that's valid. That's 100% valid
It's
to
fine,
choose
yeah.
to not get her because you
Mhm.
don't want like the ease of access. But for everybody else who's like, oh man, no, she's not gonna be strong, she's broken or trash or whatever.
Yeah,
Just,
she
you
does too
know,
much, man. She just does absolutely too
yeah,
much.
same Pokemon reference all over again. If I'm using Charizard and you're playing a Blastoise, what if I could make you weak to Charizard? Like, you're not even weak to fire. You are literally resistant to fire. You resist fire, but I just made you weak to
So
fire. You know,
true,
that's
yeah.
crazy.
Nah, bro. If that was in Pokemon, I would win all of VGC.
And it's
Free.
I'm about to say VGC is doubles, so they do have a partner, which means you could do it. If they put an ability like that in the game, it's over. It is
That
over.
Pokemon's gonna be banned. Gonna be in Ubers.
I don't think they would ban it. VGC is crazy. They let crazy stuff happen, dude. Like what was
You
it?
can only use it once per
Null?
battle.
Yeah, type Null he's a normal type, but then you turn him into Savali, and then he gets whatever typing his plate is. Just reverse it. So now it's like you get whatever typing I put on you. Oh yeah, bro. It's a wrap.
All right.
They can never do that.
Like a mini Arceus.
We had Mr. EO go crazy about how passionate he is about how broken Silverwolf is.
Yes,
Go ahead. Let's go ahead and
sir.
give Destiny and Pokey their chance to
Destiny, you can go first. You go first. Yeah.
I think she's like as he said, the closest thing to a must pull. Cause what's funny is I looked at her kit before she came out before Starlight actually came out. Because I got to play CBT 3 and Silverwolf wasn't it. But I'm like, people talk about Silverwolf. What does she do? So then I looked it up. I'm like, do. I read it. I text him immediately. Hey, yo, this bitch broken as hell. And he's like, what? And I'm like, she implants weaknesses. She has like 52 debuffs. She does
52
everything.
accurate.
This is my character. And then he immediately was like, yeah, no, you're right. Like, and we both agreed. And we both made videos. Like, if you scroll to both of our channels, I think even before the game came out, I know I made a video where I talked about her, but I'm pretty sure he did as well, but I could be wrong. The point is, before she came out, we were super like, she's the one. Like, this is the character we're 100% both pulling. She came out. I mean, people had their concerns because they're like, oh, her implantation is super random and we don't know the odds and all this shit. And I'm like, but you can still do it though. Like, and I think effect hit rate wasn't fully understood as well during that just yet because many creators weren't talking about it, which is funny because I think you found me from the Silverwolf effect hit rate video. I made that video. That's how a lot of people found me. That video.
Really?
Yeah, that video got like 80K, bro. That video, like, bro, my channel went poof after that video because they were like, yeah, no, that was my peak video, bro. And I was like, damn. I guess people didn't know, which is fair because the game was still new, so effect hit rate wasn't fully understood. And I used a Japard example with him freezing, and then everyone was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Like, okay. And then the video I talked about her light cone and that free light cone that we were getting. And I'm like, this literally fixes a lot of what a lot of people are saying might be a problem. Like, oh, what if it doesn't even go on? This light cone helps with that.
That light cone is by far one of the craziest free-to-play ones we've done, for sure. It's so good.
For sure, yeah. And I was just like, man, like that was just like I had so much faith in her. So yeah, I'm gonna keep having that faith. If I could have E6'd her back then, I would have. I would have. Bro, her E6 is insane. There's someone in my Discord server who has her E6 and he's like, I clear everything. And I'm like, what?
Main DPS.
He showed me it. Nah, he showed me it. Like he uploaded like a little clip to YouTube just to show me it because it wouldn't send in Discord. I was like, ah, damn, I'm about to pull out the credit card. But I didn't. Rerun though.
Well, rerun. Can someone
Oh, rerun.
someone
Rerun.
tell me if I'm wrong or right? But did Silverwolf's ult used to be AoE in beta? I heard it was AoE.
I don't know.
Which one? Her ult?
Yeah, her ult.
I think it was.
I don't know.
I heard it was
I
I
don't
heard
know.
it was adjacent ult on Silverwolf in closed beta, but I don't remember. I swear I heard it.
They changed a few things, but I think they made her effect hit rate thingies lower. But the thing is, they also then the 1.1, they're like, oh,
Yeah,
let's
they
just
were like,
make all
let's
the
nerf
enemies
everyone.
lower.
Yeah,
And I'm like, oh,
that helped everyone. Everyone that needed effect hit rate, that helped everyone so hard.
bro, Sampo stonks or shampoo, my bad. Stonks went up. Kafka stonks. Like, she doesn't even need much effect hit rate at all because of her kit.
Yeah,
And I'm like, dude, like, they're like, Nihility's our favorite. Nihility's our golden child.
actual facts,
And then
though.
Destruction as well.
Yeah, now destruction.
Pick one, Nihility or Destruction.
Yeah, Nihility
Those are the only
destruction.
two options.
They've been getting so much support.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Pokey, go ahead. Give your thoughts about Silverwolf.
I think everything that is amazing and great has been emphasized enough, and I agree with everything that was said. Right? She straight up saves players the amount of resources you would need to build a team, and I think this is especially prevalent for like the beginning stages of Honkai Star Rail. Right? Maybe 1 year, 2 years down the road, you won't think of Silverwolf that much because by then you probably would have gotten all the elements. But right now, she's just like she helps you play the game at such a more comfortable pace because you don't need to build, like for example, the 5 DPS, right? You don't even need 5 DPS. So yeah, I think right now her use is really, really strong. The only, I guess I'll just say one thing that hasn't been said is just with this release of Imbibitor Lunae, I found myself not even giving a shit about weakness implant. Like he can straight up just destroy any stage.
Yeah,
I don't even give a shit. If
same. Yeah, I've done that.
He just does so much damage that he straight up brute forces the game. So he's technically not breaking the rules. He just doesn't give a shit about the rules at all. So yeah, he doesn't give a shit if there's imaginary weakness. He just kills everything. So I'm a little bit concerned.
What are the rules again? Okay, I don't
Bro
know.
has plot armor for real.
No, yeah, I agree with
I don't
Pokey
give a
though.
shit.
I agree with Pokey. I think it was MOC 9. I literally one shot someone while they had their weakness on, didn't have weakness. That was insane. I was like,
Yeah.
no way
Yeah.
that just happened, dude. Yeah, I agree with him so much because the
Dude's
fact that
playing
he
Monopoly and
Yeah,
collecting 200 every time
yeah,
he rolls.
he legit one shot that dude without his shield being taken. I was like, there's no way I just saw that.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way.
Yeah, so
Oh my.
that's just my only concern. So if going forward, if we see more and more DPS, like the damage numbers just goes like out of the window, where to the point where we don't even need weakness implant anymore, then Silverwolf's value is probably going to drop. But I hope that the game doesn't reach that point, even though we kind of already have at this stage. So yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot, man. Yeah, it's funny how y'all keep reminding me of things that I do, like him saying that, oh yeah, it didn't matter if he didn't have weakness on him because he still ended up dying regardless. That is insane, to be honest. That I'm now remembering. I'm like, God dang. All right, now we're gonna get into the very fun part, which I wanted to talk about. I did shred off a couple of topics because it's getting pretty long. But okay, I'm very excited to be talking about this. I asked all three of these guys what the best 3 characters are in the game, value-wise, and overall their criteria for what is the best. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and say this: only one character is prevalent in all of our answers. Only one. Okay, and I'm pretty sure you already know who it is at this point.
Yeah.
We've already, we all of us just gave us our highest praises to the character. So yeah, Silverwolf is in pretty much everyone's answer. Now for the rest of the list, it's all mixed up. Okay, so what I'm gonna do?
Go one by one.
Yeah,
I was
exactly what I'm
actually
gonna do.
wrong, then.
Exactly what
I
I'm
was
gonna do.
wrong.
I'm gonna
I
say
knew it was Silverwolf.
one person is gonna say, I'm gonna point out who's gonna go first. All right, I'm gonna say your characters and you're gonna defend it. Okay, and then everyone else can be like, oh, okay, okay. So who wants to volunteer to be first?
Sounds fun.
Who wants to
Yeah.
be volunteer?
first.
Oh, Destiny, you want to? Okay. So for
Okay.
Destiny, she said Silverwolf, which of course everyone knew it was gonna be Silverwolf, Bronya, and then wait, I just noticed you put 2 characters for the last option.
Hey, bro, I was like,
Well,
like
cheated.
they both
Facts, she cheated.
You can just go for
Actual.
the first one. I don't even remember
Okay.
who the first one was.
So she did Silverwolf, Bronya, Sella. Go ahead and
Yeah.
defend yourself.
First reason, Honkai Impact.
Goated, a base answer. Base answer.
Second answer, I like both Bronyas. Like I saw Silverwolf and I'm like, oh my god, mini Bronya. That's the one. Also the keychain. Once again, it answers for itself. Can it focus?
She was full
Please?
on like
Oh,
character
look at
design
that
meta.
focus.
It
That
felt
focus
good.
nice. Yeah, but that and Bronya is just because, well, out of all the buffers, I've noticed when it comes to supporting DPS characters, she's literally almost like always the best choice. Like even for
She is.
Don Hung IL, I doubted the
Me too.
fuck.
No, me too.
Bad word. I doubted the hell out of her
I did too.
at first.
Yeah.
And then I was like, let me try. And then I got told this rotation and I was like, let me try it. And then the basic attack, E, and then the 3-stack, and then how you basically get it like a 2-turn ult. I'm like, nah, this is like crack. Like this is actually the one. Because I just use 2 skill point positive characters on the team and he literally just wipes the floor with whatever we're fighting. So I'm like, okay, he's even good with her. So a character who is skill point hungry works with her. Blade is also crack with her. It's literally the same rotation. It's almost exact same thing. It's just a little bit different. Zila, obviously. Kafka's the only one I guess people don't care too much. I rather use Silverwolf with Kafka personally, but that's just me. But for most DPSs, she does the job. And this likely will continue as a trend for a very, very long time until they make a character that once again advances everyone forward at once. And they're like, all right, everybody goes.
Oh my god.
Then I'll say that character is the one.
I'll be so upset.
That'd be
What if they make
that'd
it,
be too
but
busted.
no damage buffs?
No, that'd still be broken. At that point, it'd
It'd
still be broken. Yeah, you're
At
getting the
that point,
whole team.
I'm using her and Bronya, bro.
If you think
Oh,
about
no.
it, if they ever
Using
made
both.
if they ever made a character like that, you could literally make that full team forward skip, all skill point regenerate, just basic attack with everyone, and it would be the same
Yeah.
thing technically of you
Yeah.
going again. Just make everyone you get +4 skill point out of that or +3. No, there's no way they let that happen.
Yeah, that it's just a hypothetical, but yeah, she like her concept even in beta. Me and him also talked about Bronya, and we were like, Bronya is by far going to be the best standard character. Game came out, people were like, Japard, Bailu, Bronya, whatever, because a lot of them had really, really good value in the beginning. I still think some of them have really good value right now, but Bronya, I definitely say is like at the top. She's just super good. If you do get E1, you're basically negating some of that skill points issue, and it's only at E1. It's not like it's an E6 thing. So she's just really good. Silverwolf, we just talked about, and it seems like everyone agrees with that. Now, for the third one, I either had Daniel or Zila, but I said pick the first one, which it was Zila. So Keychain, Honkai Impact, and also Resurgence. I feel like Resurgence is just such a, I don't know if I'd call it game breaking, but it's a very, very powerful mechanic that not many other characters, like I don't see them giving another character Resurgence, at least not anytime soon. It might be one of those things that are really unique to her. And the thing is, as we keep getting more buffers and even possibly more debuffers as the game goes on, she's technically gonna just keep getting stronger. And if we get another broken set like the Quantum set,
Yeah, that says too
she's
good.
just gonna get stronger. Like she's not one of those characters I feel like that diminishes in value. The only thing they could do is make like the mobs super, super beefy and you
Mhm.
can't break them and no Resurgence. But if we get basically buffers or debuffers as the game goes on, which we will, that are really good and can work with her, she just keeps getting stronger as our other DPSs. So I feel like the way that she's like S plus or like SS on like almost every tier list, I feel like that's gonna be that way for like a very, very long time. So that's kind of my reasoning. Plus, also I feel like personality reason, and like if her personality in this game is really, really good.
Love
And
her in this game so
design,
much.
I love the butterfly design. It's just so like pretty, like the, and the scythe.
Yeah, facts. All right.
It would have been sick though. Oh, my bad.
No, you go ahead. If you're gonna
It
keep
would have
going.
been sick though. Like I know they won't do it because I'm pretty sure the game is rated like E. But like, imagine if like when she charges up with the scythe, she like chops your head off. with the scythe. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. It'd be
You
cool
do some
though.
wicked stuff.
No, she'd be like a reaper. She would literally be a reaper.
All right. So the funny thing is, I said everyone had different answers. That is no longer apparent because I didn't notice that Destiny had said Sele was the third option. Now I thought she was gonna do Don Hung, so that's why I say everyone had different. But actually, her and EO actually have the same answer. So I'm gonna go ahead
Wow.
and
We
let
always have the same answers.
I'm gonna go ahead and let EO go ahead and explain himself as well because y'all both had the same thing at that point.
So Silverwolf already did my rant on that, so
Yup.
that's
That's
there.
that's an hour saved. No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Branya is very similar to what she said, and also what I said. Negates neutral. Neutral is a fighting game term, which is the fighting of space, like you know
Mhm.
how you fight to control whatever. So I guess in RPG sense, neutral would be it's my turn now, it's your turn. That's the
Mhm.
easier way to put it. Branya skips that. It's always my turn as long as Branya has a point to use. So game breaking mechanic. She buffs you, and her buff is one of the strongest, if not the strongest in the game. And she has guaranteed crit on her only attack, and her ultimate does some crazy stuff. Like she's all around a great character.
Mhm.
Plus she's Branya, like Queen Branya for life.
Facts.
She works with everybody. That's a big
Yeah,
thing.
for sure.
And I don't see that changing. I don't see that changing at all. They would have to make a new Branya. I don't want them to. They
Yeah,
would have to make a new
they
Branya
cannot.
to
All skill
replace her.
points.
Yeah,
All of them
yeah, yeah.
advanced.
We
No,
for-
no. I don't want a new Branya, bro. Like now, if they made like, I'd say I would be okay if they made element specific Branyas. So let's say that they made a fire version of Branya,
Mhm.
but it only worked for fire. Like she could only buff fire people ahead. Then that's like, okay, this character is great for Topaz. I'm cool. Like I like that because then it makes the character really strong, but it's only a strong option for fire. Or if
Kinda
they
like
made
a-
it for lightning, you know, like that'd be a really interesting thing for them to do. But if they made another element character that does the same thing as Branya, literally the same thing, it's just a different element. At that point, they're just milking us for money. Because like, why would I pull for a quantum Branya, but regular Branya is right there? I
Mhm.
guess
But
like
what if
different costume or skin or something. I don't know, but
but what if they make like a whole new Branya? Like how there's Silverwolf and there's Branya? What if they made like how there's Don Hong Il? What if they made like a super Branya?
Ooh, E6.
You know what?
can't do
Now
the
I
same
do
thing.
damage
E6.
and I advance.
no. Okay, now I would accept it if she only advanced herself forward. I don't know how that
Uh,
worked. Like she gave herself another turn immediately after.
That sounds like
Um,
resurgence.
Fuck it. You know, if she's gonna be a new character, why not? Like, especially if we're taking the same concept of Don Hunt, right, with the whole dragon thing.
Mhm.
The concept that I have of evolving Branya in some kind of way, it has to involve Zila. Maybe they fuse. Maybe
DBZ stuff everywhere.
yeah, some DBZ
Right?
stuff. Maybe they get
They
married,
just
and then like there's a whole like corruption within Bellabog, and they meet one of the, what do you call them, the Aeons or whatever, the new gods or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be one of them, and then the new god is like, because I was gonna take Branya, but then Zila's like, you can't take her without me. So then she's like, all right, and fuses them together. So they create like this new goddess character, and so now you have the best of Zila and the best of Branya, and you slap them together. So you get resurgence and you get advanced forward. Fuck yeah, give me that shit. You know, like I'm
Man's
cool with
creating
that.
whole
Zila.
storylines out here.
Zila.
Yeah. But
It's
the
the
only
same
reason
thing.
I like it is because it's very lore specific. Like this wouldn't exist without the lore, so it makes sense.
Oh yeah, but of
that
course gonna
this
do
is-
that.
Yeah,
like
like
that
this
with
is
Don
why it
Hung.
exists.
Yeah.
The other characters
Yeah.
don't exist because of lore reasons. Like their power doesn't. Don Hung, sure, yeah, him, but like nothing ever
Sure.
explains why Zila has a resurgence. Like there's no lore behind why she can go again, or like why she has the whole phantom thing going on. She just does it. No one explains why Branya can tell people to go. I guess because she's the
Leader?
queen general. or whatever.
Commander.
Yeah, she's the commander. So I guess that makes sense for her to like get out there,
Oh.
you know. But whatever. No one explains why Jing Yuan has lightning lord. I still don't know that. So, but he has it. He's the only one that has it. I thought it was like he also had the Aeon guy. I thought that was like we made a pact, like Persona. Nope, he just has lightning lord. What the fuck? Like that's not explained. So
Some
more
lore
specific
fan is just gonna be
characters.
like,
Yeah,
well,
you know?
actually, he has Lightning Lord because.
if someone can come in the comments and tell me why he has lightning lord, by all means, because I genuinely do not know.
Yeah, because
But-
like with like Don Hung Il, his new form, there's a reason for it. Like it's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
heavy
yeah.
lore reason. Yeah.
Mhm. Exactly. So if they made a new Branya and it was lore specific and they fused Zila, cool. I would love it. But that's my reasoning for Branya. Zila, again, same as Moon. I was going to say it's between Zila and Don Hung, but you're like 3. I'm like, I'm not gonna make it confusing. For Don Hung, it was gonna be because 600,000 damage, doesn't care about anything else in the game. Literally doesn't break the rules. He just doesn't care, as we said. So he's just strong for no reason apparently. Zila, however, Zila breaks the rules. She usually doesn't care, but she likes it if you're weak to quantum. And I did this in my video. What did I say? Ease of use, has a multitude of gear options, both relic and light cone, and planar ornaments. So I guess that counts as relics. And then she also functions with almost every character in the game. Like the only thing that I can't think of her functioning with would be someone else who wants to suck, like Dong Hung. Her sucking up as much skill points and then him sucking up as much skill points, they don't function. But if you put Zila on a team with Kafka, they still operate the same way. She just doesn't get benefited from the DOT, but she will kill it. You put her on the same team as Jin Yuan, they will operate the same way. Blade, they will operate the same way. So Zila as a character functions with a multitude, if not every other character in the game besides Don Hung. All the Harmony characters she works with. Almost all of the Nihility characters, except maybe like Luca, she works with. All the other Erudition characters for like a sub DPS role, they work with her. So even though she's a very selfish character for like, I want me, it's warranted. Her me is gonna eradicate every other enemy on the field. So if she's like, I just need y'all to back me up, cool, we got you, you know? And again, the ease of use, it's you just click, you literally left click, and then she kills it. I don't have to think. I leave it on auto. Don Hung cannot play on auto. I can't
No,
auto
he
with
cannot.
Don Hung. Yeah, you know, so like I can auto with Zila, go off, and I can go to McDonald's. Why am I so hung at McDonald's today?
Exactly. I was
Maybe
wondering
you
that
should get
too.
some
I was wondering that
McDonald's.
Me some
don't even-
McDonald's.
I don't even think I want it. I don't,
You're literally wearing red. You're wearing red.
I don't
Bro,
want it,
go get a McChicken or something, man.
No way, I get a 10-piece nugget, but I don't think I want it.
Okay.
I might after this, but I don't think I want it.
I
But yeah,
want
you know
food
that
after this.
Zila's just crazy cracked out. She's a really good character, and Zila's one of those characters similar to Kafka, where, well, maybe not super similar. Kafka's a little bit different, but I put characters in a certain category where no matter what character comes out in the future, this character's placement cannot go down. It can only the new character can only be added next to them.
Mhm.
They can't, like, they would have to change the game to nerf Zila. Like, you can't nerf her by releasing a Zila 2.0. It's just gonna be okay. Now we have 2 Zilas in S plus. You know what I mean? So she can't be booted out. You have to make the game change in order to change her as a character. Kafka, similar. In order for Kafka to get nerfed, you have to change the game. Because if a new DOT character comes out and the DOT character does like bleed times 10, like the Dire Wolf, okay, well, guess who else gets buffed? Kafka, because she's gonna proc it. So she doesn't go down, she only goes up. Every new DOT character comes out, it doesn't matter if they're bad or good. Kafka goes up. Silverwolf, same thing. Like, you can't release another Silverwolf and then she goes down. She goes right back up. Like, she's in the same spot. New Silverwolf gets right there added to her. Bronya, same thing. No one's gonna, another Bronya wouldn't replace Bronya. It would just give you 2 Bronyas on one. You know what? Give me another
that.
Bronya. Give me
I
a
need
quantum
that.
Bronya. Now that I said it out loud, give me another Bronya that does the exact same thing but a different element, and then I can use 2 Bronyas on one team. Call it a dungeon.
Whoa, what?
That would be very greedy, but I like it. So who else do we have? Don Hung. Don Hung's not going to go anywhere. You would have to fix the game or change the game for him to
Fix
go
the
somewhere.
game.
Yeah.
He's
You'd
so
have to
bad
change it.
right
Fix the
now. He has to
game.
fix the
Yeah.
game for him to be okay to be in the game.
So he's just, all of them are too good. They're in their spot. They can't go down. And I think that's why I think they're the best. They ease of use, a multitude of different options they can use. And do they work with, like, are they limited in team restrictions? Do they have a team restriction or not? You know, how do they operate? And then Zila just, Don Hung might be stronger, but Zila does similar, if not same thing, for way easier than what he would have to do it for. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, we got some really long explanations, which is a really good thing. I like it because you're like point out every detail and
I
every
like this
reason.
attitude.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
single
He's
thing.
like, I want to sleep.
Dude, it's
No, it's good. It's good. I'm enjoying this. I'm genuinely enjoying
yeah, I was
this.
gonna say I'm gonna
I'm
let Poke
genuinely
go
enjoying
too,
this,
but
yeah.
like
No, it's all
very
good, though.
rare. I get to talk about Star Rail.
Exactly,
and,
yeah. That's why I like doing
like,
this a
what
lot.
comes in the future,
Yeah.
like what's
Exactly.
not gonna come.
Yeah.
I love this shit.
I really, just to go off of that really quickly. I'm sorry, Mr. Poke. I know you want to get your answer there, but
Nah, it's all good.
I
It's-
really,
it's
really
all good.
wanted to do this because I just think, like we all have already said multiple times, that a lot of different content creators already said, there's not enough space. Well, not enough space. There's not enough times where content creators can come together and talk or do something together in these games. Because a lot of the Hoyos verse games, they're really, really single player, like hard single player. So we don't get a lot of times to interact with each other and stuff like that. That's why I really wanted to do this type of podcast, and maybe in the future eventually add more people and all that type of stuff, because a lot of people don't get the chance to talk about this game to a lot of other people, and especially at a higher level sometimes, because a lot of players are casual, a lot of your friends probably don't play it, all that type of stuff. So I think it's really nice that we are doing this type of thing. Gives a lot of discussion now, gives different points across. That's why I really like long answers. I really like detailed answers, because we get to see the thought process behind other people's opinions on what they think is good, on why they think this is bad, why they think this is broken, all that type of stuff. So that's why I really like doing this. Okay, we're gonna go with Mr. Pokey. Now the thing about Mr. Pokey's is that he has a character in here that neither of you mentioned, which is funny enough, which I think is kind of crazy. That I thought this character would have been in there a lot more. So his top 3 characters were Imbibitor, okay, Silverwolf, and Luocha.
I knew it.
Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah,
Pokey.
dude, I was so shocked that nobody chose Luocha, dude. But okay, yeah.
I was tempted.
Continue.
I was very,
I
very
was
close.
not tempted.
Oh, you
Nowhere
were
near
not. You were
close.
like, he is nowhere
I
near.
was
near.
very close, but then I thought of like Xuan Lynx, and I'm like, nah.
Oh
Not
wow.
even
Okay.
them, not even them. It's just
Wow.
that, like, in order for Locha to be considered like one of the best, because at that point, what are we looking at for criteria?
Hey, bro, you gotta
now-
let him speak.
Fuck,
rebuttal.
right, my bad, my bad,
You gotta
my bad,
let him
my bad.
Mr.
rebuttal.
Pokey.
My
It's
bad,
good, it's
my
good.
bad.
I'm listening.
I
No,
was
it's all
like,
good.
You're
all
the
good.
prosecutor. You're like, no, you're wrong.
No.
No, I didn't even say he was wrong. I didn't even say he was
I'm
wrong.
genuinely enjoying this. I'm
Yeah.
genuinely enjoying this. Yeah. Go for it.
I didn't say he was wrong at all. I'm saying that, like, you have to think about what the criteria would be, because like Poke's criteria for what's top 3
Dog.
is clearly different from you and I's. And to me, I'm looking at it as like the whole DPS versus support argument. And even though he has Imbibitor Lunae in there, had he not had Imbibitor Lunae, I'm pretty sure that would have been Zila. And so now you look at it from a everything else after that, because we've got Bronny and Silverwolf in there. Why? Because offensive support. Well, we completely neglected the fact that if you can't survive, you die. And that's why I'm sure that's why he has Locha in there, but if not, then other reasons. And so I'm like, okay, that's really cool to see the different
For sure.
the different perspectives
perspective.
behind that. I'm a much more aggressive type of player.
Offensive. Yeah.
So I would never think to put like a supportive, a defensive character. Like Locha would have to do something so phenomenal for every character in the game, every team, for me to be like, he is without a doubt. I cannot go without Locha. Like because I could go without Locha. I could use Japard, I could use Fushwin, I could use Bailu,
sure.
I could use Fire MC sometimes. Like so, Locha to me is like, yeah, but hi, mama. Hi.
All right, Mr.
Gotta
Pokey.
Photoshop her and make her a Locha dog.
What would that even look like?
Just put the hair.
Oh my god,
No.
give her a Nambi costume.
A Numbi
Cosplay
costume.
is so bad. Give her a Nambi costume. Yes, sir.
They'll tear it up, but that would be so fun.
All right, Mr.
Get her a
Yeah.
little. Get her a little Kafka.
Yeah, put a little cap
It'll be
on her.
stunting. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Pokey, go ahead and do your praises for Luocha, because I know you're like, oh, y'all are so stupid.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Silverwolf are doing the repeat, so it's basically just Imbibitor and Luocha. Okay, I'll just talk about Imbibitor first, because Moon and EO preferred Sile over Imbibitor, and I think it was a pretty close match, honestly, because they almost picked Imbibitor, but then they still picked Sile in the end. Okay, my reason for why I picked Imbibitor, let me just say about my criteria, right? My criteria when I was thinking about who is the best 3 characters in the game, this is a very generic topic. For me, I feel that these characters need to help a player get to the most difficult content in the game, which at the moment is Memory of Chaos, right? All the other content in the game, overall farming, Traces, Calyx, Simulator Universe, technically you could clear them with like fucking anybody, right? You can clear it with Natasha.
Yeah, you definitely can.
Like,
Oh
it's
my
so
God.
easy that like you can just full auto with anyone and just clear it. So the only real content that's like kind of gatekeeping players in Honkai style right now is Memory of Chaos, right? So that was my thinking going into it. And I felt that Imbibitor Lunae is like the amount of damage he dealt when I first experienced him just far surpassed any other DPS that I've any experience, like Kafka, Blade, Silly. Like it's just the amount of damage he does is so obscene that I didn't even consider all other DPS, because the first thing that came to my mind was the best DPS is just Imbibitor Lunae, straight up, right? So that was why like I chose him, because like also what we mentioned about him just now earlier in the podcast, he doesn't even give a shit about the rules, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't break, he just doesn't give a shit. So he just does so much that if I were to like, for example, if players were to listen to my opinions as to what are the 3 best characters, hopefully this my opinion can help them make a decision that, okay, next time if I had to pick one DPS out of all the DPS right now, I would want to pick Imbibitor Lunae because that's going to give me the easiest access to endgame content, which is Memory of Chaos, because my man just straight up just destroyed everything, right? With or without weakness, all that kind of stuff, right? So that was why I picked Imbibitor Lunae. Silly, when she released, yeah, I know she was like really, really good, but she was still nowhere as insane as Imbibitor where I am right now, from what I'm seeing right now. So yeah, that's why I ultimately decided with Imbibitor Lunae and didn't really cast for Silly. As to another reason, like for example, like ease of use, I genuinely think that Imbibitor is not like super difficult. Okay, in terms of investment, I think he's pretty much the same. Like if you want to make Silly work, you need to invest in a crit damage, attack, crit rate, right? Which is exactly the same as Imbibitor. You build him exactly like how you build Silly. He doesn't need speed, and Silly doesn't need speed as well. So in terms of investment, it's exactly the same. But in terms of team composition, I think he's not as rigid as what people make him out to be, right? People keep saying like, oh, he needs like all this like skill point positive characters. If he doesn't have it, then he's just not gonna work. But the thing is, every single support we have in the game right now, as well as sustain, they're all skill point positive. Ting Yun use one skill, rest of it is auto attack. Pella always only use auto attack. Rocha only auto attack. Your healers only heal when you need to heal. The rest is always auto attack. Who else? Bronya, she pretty much is just self-sustaining. You auto attack with her once and then use a skill. She's basically like skill point neutral. Then who else? Okay, Yukong is kind of hard, but once you have an E6, then
all you need is her ult at that
Asta
point.
is skill point positive.
E6 is just
okay, but
it.
Yukong is the only exception. Yukong is the only exception. Asta is skill point positive, right? You basically just use a skill and then auto attack. So a lot of all these like supports
ones too, though, for Asta, because she loses the attack buffs, right? If you only auto attack, she loses the buffs faster than she gains them.
Well, I wasn't even thinking about Asta's attack buff. I was just thinking about the speed stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like her purpose was just to feed her skill points as a support, right? Whether we have the attack buff or that kind of stuff. And honestly, Asta doesn't really sync very well with Daniel, Imbibitor, but you can use her if you want to. Not very optimal, but it's still viable, right? So, and on top of that, because he's really doing so much damage, it's not like you can't clear the game without using his like best in slot supports. You can still clear the game because his own damage is already so much. So in terms of team building, I think he's a lot more fluid than what people thought it to be, right? So yeah, that's ultimately why he's really fluid. He just straight up kills everything in the game. So in terms of DPS, I think he edges out Silly in that team department. Okay, Luocha. I honestly, I was really shocked that nobody picked Luocha because
it's crazy.
I've tried playing the game with Luocha. I've tried playing the game without Luocha, and holy shit, Luocha just straight up is like, it's so comfortable.
Yeah,
you can literally run him in every single team, right? Because especially for newer players, because there's no way you can clear a stage without any healers when you just start out the game. There's just no way, right? Luocha just makes it so much comfortable to clear a stage. Like for example, like the current MOC 10, if you don't have Luocha for the second half of Kafka, it's gonna make your life a living hell. For those of you guys who have watched Tecton, even Tecton is like, because his team doesn't run Luocha, and even when he's running Luocha, he's still facing a lot of difficulties. When he didn't get Luocha, just straight up couldn't even clear it. And I think like his pure F to play account is a pretty good representation of like what free-to-plays are kind of feeling, right? So Luocha's value for these kind of new players is definitely very high. But that being said, of course, when we go into the later in the game where you get super strong to the point where you don't even need sustains anymore, you can just run one DPS, 3 supports, and they can just clear the game for you, then yeah, you probably won't need Luocha as much. But when you're like just starting on the game, or until you reach that stage, I think he's gonna be like absolutely essential for a very long time. And I don't think any other healer can come close to what he does and what he's good at, right? He's the best at what he's good at. So yeah, that's why I picked Luocha over Bronya.
Yeah, that
is it fine if I show something real quick? Because whenever people talk about Luocha, I just think about this.
Him healing Blade nonstop.
Yeah,
what the hell is that?
It's like you know how Blade wants to.
Why did you just post it?
Oh shoot!
I can see Blade.
Yeah, post it. I'll put it up.
You can only see Blade. Luocha's the lights. You can't see him.
So yeah, Luocha. It was cool seeing that people didn't put Luocha in top 3, which I understand kind of. But yeah, this man nonstop skill point. That man is gonna be generating nonstop skill. You don't really use his heal manually that much. Like he's nonstop, like standby. Like it's crazy. And then he cleanses with it as well, so it's really good stuff that he has on him. So it is nice seeing you already see the difference in opinions where we have, you know, more offensive style perspectives with Moon and Io. And then we have Pokey with his, you know, Luocha, which is a very good thing. And then we have Imbibitor where he thinks he's like right there on top of Cele. Now, the funny thing is, I don't have Luocha on mine either. So my thought process for that, right, is for the fact that, yes, he's really good and he makes the game so comfortable. It's the comparable equivalent of having Zhongli on your account in Genshin. You have him on your account, you're pretty much not going to die. So it's really good. But in all honesty, I do think, and I thought about it the future as well. I was like, there's going to be healers. We're going to have Xuan. We're going to have Lynx. We have Natasha. Fire MC is really cracked. I swear. Anyone who hasn't built Fire MC is doing themselves a disservice. He is so good.
I haven't.
He is so good. His 50% damage reduction is no joke. Okay, this man does not take damage. But I just thought that there's gonna be so many different options in the future. And Luocha, although he's very comfortable, he's a really good skill point generator. I think he's one of the best healers for sure, no matter what. I just didn't want to put him in there. I just don't think he's a must. I wanted to put mine as must characters, in all honesty. Characters that I think are really good. Now, two of them have already been talked to death, Silverwolf and Bronya. And everyone knows why they're there, you know? Silverwolf, weakness implant, defense shred, 50,000 debuffs. You can't go wrong with Silverwolf. Bronya, she's literally the most universal thing in the world. You could put her on an inner team. Every time we doubt her, if she's not going to work on the team, she literally says, nah, I'm actually like one of the best partners. She's one of the better characters. And especially with what we talked about earlier with Lynx, how she's going to make a sub DPS meta happen for sure with Clara and for Blade. We got to remember that her ult is going to give crit damage to the whole team. So that sub DPS, that DPS, they're both going to benefit from this. And that even gives her higher value as soon as Lynx comes out and whatever other unit comes out that gives taunt as well. So that's some crazy stuff. But now, oh man, I already know mine's controversial. It's crazy. It's not Cele. It's not Imbibitor. It's not Luocha. It's not, it's a DPS, but it's not Cele nor Imbibitor. It's not Kafka either.
I know it.
Blade.
It's Blade. It's Blade. I think Blade is the top 3 for sure.
Oh my god.
Pokey's like, you are wrong. Okay, but the reason
insane. No, insane. Oh, no way.
Nah, bro. Well, his explanation should be the auto abundance attack.
No, okay. But Blade, in my opinion, is the only S+ tier DPS in the game. In my honest opinion. I think he's above Cele. I think he's above Imbibitor. In all honesty, I think he's above Kafka as well, even though she can enable dot teams. His gameplay style, right? With him having his max HP, he's never gonna die. At this point, he's never gonna die. He has 8K at the best with what he has in his relics. He has so much crit rate with his kit and with all of the stuff that he has with the relic set. It just makes building him super easy, but that's not the reason why. I was thinking of the sub DPS thing. Blade is going to be the form factor, like the #1 person for that for sure. The sub DPS thing, he's going to be taking those hits for sure when it comes to being the tank for your team with Lynx. And he does a fat ton of AoE damage. Like his adjacent hitting basic attack, his ult adjacent hitting, he has the follow-up attack that hits everyone. I just think with him having as much AoE damage as he has, with him having such insane damage, and not only that, he also self-sustains himself to the point where he really doesn't need a healer in all honesty, because if you're under 50% HP, use ult, you're back up to 50% HP. If you have that last stack that you need before the follow-up attack, use the ult, you're down to 50%, you get the follow-up attack, and you get to shred a bunch of mobs. I just think he has a lot in his kit when it comes to keeping yourself healthy as a DPS and not having to worry about other things like taking you down, because a lot of the DPSs, they're not HP scaling, or a lot of the characters are not HP scaling. They can get hit hard, especially with all these characters that are either debuffing you where you can't move, or they're infinitely attack stacking, like the monkey we've already talked about, where he's just nonstop hitting, boom, 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 and it's like taking half your health, 80% of your health, stuff like that. So I think Blade, with how tanky he is, with him being viable for sub DPS and main DPS, him being SP neutral, which literally gives you way too many skill points for your supports, for your sustain. I just think that he has too much in his kit. I think the damage is cool. Imbibitor is insane. This man hits for 300Ks, 200Ks. I know, because I had it myself. Cele, insane as well. Her relic set, go crazy. Everything about a lot of these DPSs in the game right now, minus Jingyuan, they're all crazy in some they're all
crazy.
They're all crazy some certain way, but at the end of the day, I think Blade
He threw it in there.
But I think Blade, in honesty, with his main DPS potential, sub DPS, which we're about to see right now, and I cannot wait to run him as one, his tankiness, with him not needing a healer really, he just has way too much, and he's super easy to build, like super easy to build. I just had to put him up there in top 3. I I already knew it was gonna be crazy, but I just think his sustain, his SP neutral kit, his good damage, his AoE with it having everywhere adjacent, follow-up attack is full wave, the ult is adjacent. There's just too much. I just think he has a lot in his kit, and the fact that he can heal himself is really crazy too. So that's why I had to put him in top 3. I just had to. I already knew a lot of y'all were like, a lot of you
No,
were like,
I
it's
respect it.
valid. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like with you explaining it, especially coming from the so we have a self-sustain and then we have a self-sustaining DPS, and that's pretty
Mhm.
much what he is. Whereas like
yeah,
in the event he had to one-man army his
Yeah.
way through content, Blade has the
can.
highest chance of doing that.
hmm exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah, for sure, for sure.
He also
he also.
I feel like it's like your answer is kind of like a mix between me and Eo's answer and then Poke's answer. Because he went Locha and it's like, okay, the survive like the healer route, the supportive route,
Mhm.
and we went like
aggressive
the
route.
heavy
Yeah.
the aggressive route. But you went like the in between. Like I can live, but I'm still super aggressive.
Yeah,
type of
exactly.
thing.
Like
Yeah.
he can do damage. He can keep himself alive, and then he can spread out that damage. That's the thing. I
Yeah.
think single target damage in this game is dead. I don't like.
Yeah.
I think in all honesty, Cell is the only person who kind of negates that rule because she can't go another turn, and because she does have defense down with not defense down, but ignore defense with her relics, and she has a lot of things going for her. So she kind of breaks that rule. But I think if there's another character that's just doing single target damage and that's it, I think that's not the way to go. In all honesty, there's way too much going on with all the enemies that can be on the field that you can't not afford to not have an AoE DPS at this point.
Yeah.
I think single target.
5 Kafkas. Let's go.
Exactly. Like if there's 5 Kafkas and you're only hitting in the situation like Sell it. Exactly. If you're in the situation where Sell it can't kill that mob, say there's 3 tanky bosses, she's not gonna be able to use her resurgence. So in the event that I have Blade, I get to follow-up attack, I get to basic attack, I get to ult, I can heal myself. All that type of stuff that can go with him. That's why I had to put him there. I don't think a lot of people have the same opinion about Blade being like at the top, because there's like all these answers that we've said are really good ones. Locha,
Yeah.
Cele, Imbibitor, Silverwolf, Bronya. There's just way too many cracked out characters. So it was nice hearing all these different ones for sure. I'm not gonna lie, it was really cool. And also one thing, you can auto simulated universe with Blade. Like, and it's an easy clear, like super easy.
Yeah.
I had Destiny do it, and she didn't believe me, and I got it. It's the abundance.
Nah,
Blade
bro. Like
tech.
it was to the point where like I was like no, because I was trying to beat Sims 7, the hardest difficulty, and I kept losing because the deer was like
And there was
beating my
Yeah,
ass.
one-shots you kind of.
Yeah, no, like I
yeah.
streamed
Sure,
it on
one-shots you.
YouTube and it was horrible. And then he was like, "Oh, dude, Blade Abundance, trust me, bro." And I'm like,
That junk
"Okay,
goes
I don't
crazy. It goes
believe you."
crazy.
And we went back
What's
and
your
forth, and he
source?
was
Trust
so confident, and I was like, "Okay, are you so confident to the point you will give me a free Fushun
Yup,
if I don't win?" And he was like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Okay."
Oh, you
So-
should have just entered, bro. You should have just
She did. The funny
Lost
thing is,
on
she
purpose,
almost,
huh?
bro. The first run she did with it, she
No.
picked straight preservation and hunt cards on abundance path. I was like, no way, bro. She tried to int, bro. It was crazy.
She was trying to get it too.
Yeah, it was, bro. It was crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
Worth.
Nah, bro. And then the second run, I looked at my Lyco and I'm like,
Oh yeah, she cleared like half of simulated universe on abundance blade with a level 1 Lycone. That's how insane
Wow,
that's how insane that
"It's the Aeon
build is.
Lycone too."
Busted.
I
I was like, "What?"
I was like, I told her she could literally keep it on that level 1 and probably still beat the deer with that abundance boss. I was like, it's cracked out. But we're gonna go ahead and go into the final topic. I cut some ones out because I think they'll be a lot better when Fu Xuan is released. To be able to talk about that in all honesty, so I'm gonna keep those for that one. But I'm gonna go ahead and say the last one, which we've all covered it kind of throughout this podcast about Daniel. Does power creep exist in this game? Is the release of one character immediately throw the other one down to the bin, like unusable, can't use? Like if I have Imbibitor, which a lot of people are comparing Imbibitor with Cele, since she was out at the beginning of the game, and now we have Imbibitor who's doing like 300k, 400ks, right? And Cele, if she doesn't get her resurgence, she doesn't get to use her part of her passive. So a lot of people are saying that we have power creep already, that we're going into a bad route. What do y'all think about this? I'm gonna go ahead and let Mr. Pokey go first because I want to hear I think I heard you talk about it on
Sure,
stream.
sure.
I'm not 100% sure, but
Yeah, actually, okay, wait, before we go on, can I get this recording, like this VOD, especially the power creep up, because that's actually a content that I was intending to cover. So
Yeah.
it's so great that we're actually covering
Mhm.
this, right? Save you some time.
Yeah,
Alright,
I
huge,
got
huge.
you.
Okay, sure. With regards to the state of power creep, right? I'm not gonna lie, I 100% think that Imbibitor Lunae is power creeping the DPS. Like there's just no reason for him to be dealing like 300,000, 400,000 damage with the way he is right now. And the thing is, MiHoYo, it's not really like the player's fault. It's more like a game design issue where MiHoYo tried to balance this by making him use more skill points. So maybe their thought process was, okay, if he were to deal 300,000 damage with 3 skill points, it's not that bad compared to units dealing 100,000 damage with 1 skill point, right? But the thing they failed to consider is, okay, there's 2 things. One thing is that there's this inherent lack of skill points. It doesn't exist in Honkai Star Rail, right? It doesn't exist in team building. It's not something that is forcing him to cycle between 0 skill point and 3 skill point every other turn, right? I think at the very, very start of the stream, EO mentioned that he should be like having a little bit of a cooldown. Like there should be a cooldown to how often he can use this skill point. That is not restricted by actual skill points, but like a hard cooldown where you can't just do this skill over and over again. I think that would have made him a lot more balanced compared to like the rest of the roster in the DPS. But the thing is, because this does not exist, he can just straight up use this 3 skill point skill every single turn as long as you build the right team with him. Which honestly, as we have seen before from all the team building on kind of stuff, is really not that hard to make a skill point positive team for Imbibitor Lunae. So that's number 1. Number 2, he scales so much better than other traditional DPSs because of this skill point thing. Okay, let me just give that example, right? Let's say, for example, we are using a DPS that is the traditional DPS, right? That uses 1 skill point per skill and then casts an ultimate. So in this situation, let's just say we run him with three supports, right? 3 harmony, 3 agility, whatever. He gains the buff of these 3 supports. Let's just say buff ABC. So ABC is buffing his 1 skill point damage by maybe 1 buff is 50%, right? So combined he gains the 150% buff. So his 1 skill point is dealing 150% damage, and let's just say these buffs last 2 turns. For Imbibitor Lunae, these ABC exact same buffs, right? ABC, he buffs him for 3 skill points. So this is just straight up 450% like additional. And the thing is, he can just do it again the following turn, because if we build Imbibitor Lunae right, which is you build him slower, it's over the course of 2 turns, he would have dealt like 900% additional damage compared to a unit that uses 1 skill point each turn. It's only like 300%, right? This is a very, very like rough example, but I hope it gets to show that he's such a great unit that he's like a catalyst that combines all of the buffs that you get from the supports and just amplify it by like a gazillion times, way better than any of the DPS we have right now with no drawbacks. Yeah. And I think this should not be allowed like in this game, right? The fact that he does not have a cooldown on this 3 skill point is just too much. But the bottom line is, do I think power creep exists? Yes, it does. But do I think it matters in Honkai Star Rail? Probably not, because number 1, there are no competitive elements. There's no PvP, facts, there's no leaderboards, no PvE. So honestly, I don't give a shit if the guy's just gonna deal like 1 million damage, right? Because I'm as a player, I'm enjoying the game. That's the short term though, right? But in the long term, which is also what everybody has said, it might create an issue where MiHoYo needs to tune him down one way or the other. If not, players are not gonna pull for future units. And if MiHoYo does tune down his kit, either by like straight up just like what enemies are immune to imaginary damage, then players that have pulled for Imbibitor Lunae and built for him are gonna feel like, what the hell? Why would you do this, right? Especially for free to plays that saved up for so long and get this super OP unit just for him to become obsolete. It's not gonna leave a very good mark on the player's mouth, right? But that is going to the long term. Even in the game that doesn't have any competitive elements, introducing this kind of like power creep, I feel it will definitely hurt MiHoYo in the long term if they don't manage it right? Because why would you pull for any other DPS if they're not going to be able to match with Imbibitor's damage? And if they do match with Imbibitor's damage, then what about all the old DPSs that we have in the game, right? Who would even give a shit about like Yanqing or like Qing Yuan?
Mega beef with Yanqing.
Oh my god.
Mega beef.
So
That man named the
gotta
master
do him right.
and
They
the
gotta do him right.
student.
Yeah, so that's my overall thoughts on power creep in Honkai Star Rail.
The thing I like, or I think it's funny, because he talks about like the skill point thing, right? He does 3 and he's gonna scale a lot better. We gotta remember also that him doing the level 3, he gets additional scaling with like the hits giving crit damage and final damage dealt at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So like not only did they make his like stuff busted, they made it even more busted by giving buffs on top of what he does already. Like he's gonna do more and add it on to everyone. The supports giving the buffs, him himself having his raw multipliers, and then they not only did that, but they gave him extra crit damage based on how many hits he does. Same with the damage dealt buff as well. So yeah, they definitely did not see in like the long term how this was gonna look, and I think they thought that we had some type of skill point issue or something. Like they thought it was like hard for us to like get enough to get 3. Like I don't know if they were expecting us to be able to level 3 every turn, or for us to have enough to even try to do level 2s and 1s or something like that. I don't know. I wonder what their thought process was and how they thought skill points were for us. Like they thought that we skilled with every character no matter what. Team Yoon buff every turn. When they know that it lasts for 2 turns. Team Yoon buff every turn. Which, funny enough, I did that when I first started the game because I didn't know it was 2 turns.
It might have been that they thought we were gonna play him only with Yukong or even Bronya, where we constantly use a skill to get the buff because Yukong's imaginary, she helps imaginary, which I haven't seen the video just yet, or maybe not. Apparently Yukong is now the better partner than Bronya, or I guess maybe that's what's being compared right now. So I really want to see like what
E6.
At E6,
Yeah,
at
what's
E6 for
happening
sure.
with him
Because
so
you just
far.
ult with Yukong on his turn, and he gets that crit rate, crit damage buff immediately. So he gets that 1 turn once she does her ult on E6. That's why my Don Hung with Yukong buff, he's at 99% crit rate with 220 crit damage. Like, so I'm guaranteed all those are crit hits every time. So it's insane how much she gives, and she's not even at full talent buff either. I have it at 8, I think. So if I got it to 10, he would be above 100%, and he would be over 220. So like, yeah,
He's like, I'm always gonna get this crit.
yeah. So
Right.
it's absolutely insane. But go ahead, Destiny. Go. Why
Yeah.
or what do you think if power creep is a thing in Honkai Star Rail?
It's like a yes and no, because the reason for no is I feel like we're really, really early in the game. But the only issue is that, similarly to both the points they've made, and we kind of talked about this earlier, it's the fact that the scaling now, or rather the bar, is now set super, super high to where it's like, okay, if the next DPS doesn't do this, then why am I pulling? Other than, of course, design or
Design.
play style.
Mhm.
What do they offer that the other DPSs
Yeah,
we currently
exactly.
have don't offer? And I also mentioned earlier, like, I think we just need like a little bit less DPS banners and more supportive banners for right now, because we've gotten so many DPS banners in a row.
Mhm.
And I feel like every single banner that keeps coming, we're just like, wow, this damage is like boonga boonga. Like it keeps going up, 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 up. And it's like, whoa, what's going on? Why?
Yeah.
For sure.
Bro. One of the Hoyo employees is like, yes, we're getting them sales.
He's like, I love these numbers.
Yes.
That might be eventually what
To
it
the moon.
comes down to. Like, it's like, oh, Dan Heng does this, but Jing Liu does 600k now. Oh,
Yeah.
everyone's gonna be like, bigger number. Yes, I must do. So they go for Jing Liu. Topaz of 700k. Oh shoot, let's go for another character.
I feel like what they have to.
If
I just
Topaz
saw
is
what he
weak, I'm riding.
posted. Nah, like what he posted.
Wait, what? I can't even. I gotta look at my phone.
Hoyo verse right
See the chat. See the chat.
now. Yeah.
Wait a minute,
Bro,
Punk, do y'all have WWE out there? Like you watch
Verse
WWE?
right now.
I don't watch this, but I just love this GIF so much. But I don't watch it.
Bro.
I'm gonna post the gif when.
Yeah,
we
Mr.
go
Mr.
post-
McMahon is great,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
no,
He's got like the walk or whatever. He
That's
just,
so
I
funny.
love it.
Oh
Money.
My God. That's so funny.
He's Mr.
But-
Krabs, but in real life. And,
Oh
my
and if Mr.
God.
Krabs was abusive, like if they could make Mr. Krabs physically abusive in SpongeBob, that's Mr. McMahon. He just
Wow.
doesn't care, bro.
What are we talking about?
But Yeah.
WWE.
I'm losing my voice. Oh my god.
We've been talking for a minute.
Yeah, no, I'm losing it. But yeah, point is that like now the bar is set. What they can do though is that more DPSs that come out, they either have to do similar-ish damage or they have to have new mechanics. New mechanics
Mhm.
can be a really good way to get people to pull those characters. Like if there's a DPS character who can also enhance the damage of your other characters, that can be something cool.
Mhm.
It would kind of be like if they were a mix of a buffer and a DPS at that point. Their downside is probably they might do a little less damage than some of our current limited DPSs. But the thing is, if they're helping out the team instead of being like a selfish character. Oh my god. Helping out the team instead of being like a selfish character, then that could be something. Because most of our DPSs, for the most part, are pretty selfish. Zila's pretty selfish. She wants all the buffs on her. Don Hung IL, really, really selfish. I want all the skill points. I'll do all the damage. Like, I'll cover the team, but he doesn't really support like the rest of the team. Like, we don't really have many DPS that do that. I guess the only one I could personally think of is like Kafka, but Kafka still wants the DOT users on the team to increase her damage. So in a way, she's still selfish, you know, at the end of the day. Like, yeah, all of them can combine their DOT at the, like, when the enemy's turn happens, bunch of damage, which is super good. But at the end of the day, most of our DPS characters are really selfish. So if they made more characters that are a mix where it's like, oh, I could pair this with another DPS character, like this could be the main, but the main also kind of helps the sub DPS. So now I have two sources of damage, which can result in you possibly having that second like sub DPS, maybe a break build. Now you're doing super, super good breaks. You never know. It just comes down to the teams. And I feel like going forward, they'll mainly have to focus on like, okay, how do these new characters synergize with what we currently have, or what can they provide future wise? So in the case of Powercreep, that's why I say yes and no. It's a little early, but I will admit, even for myself, I was really shocked by how much damage he does. So it can either go really well, or it can go a route of like, the Dokkan example. Every character comes out like boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Every character gets stronger and stronger. I don't think that'll happen, to be honest. But what I think will happen is maybe they'll just introduce mechanics or new synergies, whatever, to keep the flair of the characters, make really fun play styles, maybe for a little bit less damage, though. You never know. Well, we'll see. But yeah, it's 50-50 for me.
All right. EO, go ahead. Is Powercreep a thing in Honkai Star Rail?
I mean, they kind of said everything that I would have wanted to say on top of like some things that I said earlier as well. It's just yeah. And I don't even like that term. I really don't like the term power creep at all. Because it insinuates that this thing coming releasing or whatever changes the game from this point forward forever, or ruins the game if you want to think about it in a negative concept. Because we've already talked about the financial stick behind it, where Hoyo is now going to have to make every character just as strong, if not stronger than, we'll use Zila. Like if Zila is the standard for everything, Zila is still the standard for, like, they need to be as strong as Zila, if not have a mechanic that allows them to possibly get close to Zila or do as much or a little bit more, whatever. I don't want them to release another character that's just as strong as Dan Heng, no matter what the conditions are, because then you have to do that for everyone. Like if Jinglu comes out and Jinglu is, which off the record, I would like if Jinglu's damage was similar, if not more, than Dan Heng, but not because I want like power creep. I just like Jinglu. I love the character type and whatnot. So
ask for power creep.
Right.
Asking for power creep.
Listen, but from a power creep perspective, if she were to come out and she sucks up HP or something like that, and then she does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, right? She does a bunch of shit that exists in the game, and her damage is same, if not more, than Dan Heng. We have entered that phase where now we're basically playing Honkai Impact turn-based edition, where every single character that comes out after that for DPS is gonna be it's gonna have to be stronger and stronger than the next character, and I don't want that. I also don't want them to feel forced, like they have to change mechanics of the game, introduce the imaginary immune thing, especially this early on. I do want what Poke was talking about, where we get to maybe like phases every 2 weeks or so, and there's like a debuff and a buff, or they alternate, whatever, because I think that's fun. I think that's really cool. To MOC, would make it a lot more fun and keep the challenge. But if they were just to straight up like, all right, well, here's an imaginary immune weakness or imaginary immune enemy, that's not really fun. Like it's challenging, sure, but then I'm just gonna turn on Zila, like, oh, he's immune to imaginary, Zila. Like I still win, there's no challenge to it. But if they were like, all right, we're gonna limit it to 3, you only have 3 SP the whole MOC run, make it work. Or instead of 4 teammates, you have 3. But they have,
oh my God.
I'm just saying, right? Like 4 teammates, 4 teammates go down to 3, but everyone has times 1.5 their HP and defensive values to try and help out with that, right? Or maybe their multipliers for shields and everything else are multiplied by 1 point times 5, whatever. Something like that would make a lot of sense. You just want to be all up on here, huh? Okay, okay. But anything like that, just different mechanics that make the game challenging but enjoyable, and you can change it every couple weeks or every patch, whatever, something that keeps it fresh. Now, if they don't do that, we're in that ballpark of like what's going on. This is what we got to do, things like that. And he's strong, he's cool, I like him. I don't want them to make another one, not so soon.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm gonna be real pissed off if Topaz and Jinglu are ass. Like if they're not strong at all. And when I say they have to be S tier above, both of them. If I see Topaz anywhere near Jingyuin's tier,
Oh no,
like, I'm be pissed. I'm like, no. I'm gonna start the Topaz mains Reddit, and we're gonna riot.
So it seems like for the most part we're all kind of like, we're not upset of Dan Hong's arrival. We're more like he set a bar. He set a bar where they can choose right now what they want to do with the game. Either they said in the next DPS, let's say Jing Liu, of course, she's doing 400Ks now with the equivalent of that. She's doing 400K, the amount of damage that Dan Hong would do, right? And now we're entering the part where now every character has to do 400K. That's the new normal. Instead of the previous normal was like maybe 100K, 80K, 70K, that type of thing, right? But now we're entering like 400Ks, 300Ks. So really with Jing Liu, we're going to see what they're going to do about it. Either it's going to be they go back to the other route where we're doing 100K, we're doing 90Ks, right? And we're back to the level where Sella is, where Blade is, where Kafka is, right? Or they're going to go to the Dan Hong route where we're doing 400K, 300K, and then we're going to see, well, now that's the new standard. So it is kind of weird because now we're going to have to see what their next move is. We're going to have to see what Hoyoverse is going to do when it comes to the DPSs that are coming out and whatever character is going to come out, because it is kind of hard seeing with him doing so much damage for so little that he has to do, right?
Yep.
We're going to have to see exactly what they're going to play out. Ooh, that's gonna be hard to think about, honestly. With the DPS,
it's exciting to like discuss, right?
Yes, it's exciting. Exactly.
What can happen with Hoyo versus in the game itself, but following, and I don't even want to use Genshin. Genshin is like piss easy when it comes to what they allow, and they keep releasing characters up, like the Lenny or whatever his name is. And you guys are like, oh yeah, he's just the best DPS at this point because of everything that he gets for free. And I'm like, oh. That's their first version of, real power creep. Before that was, I think, Ganyu. And they're like, man, Ganyu's power creep in the game. And it's like, not really. She just ignored. She was a Dan Heng. She kind of just ignored, like, oh, you're not weak to ice? Yeah, you are. Choo, 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 choo. And,
I just do a lot of damage.
Yeah, she does whatever you want. Honkai Impact, I'm not super familiar with, but I am familiar enough to know that its first, I think, year or two, the power creep was crazy. Every character that came out, every unit that came out was on top of the next. And their system or the functions of the game itself weren't able to keep up. So they had to revamp it. And then that's where you got, I guess, Honkai Impact 3rd or 2.0, whatever it is. And they changed a lot. They had the weather system in place. They implemented a lot of things that allowed, you're going to tear this down. What are you doing? They implemented more things mechanically about the game that would allow the characters to still remain powerful, but now you alternate, you rotate them out, right? So maybe
you need like 7 different teams now to like
exactly. Like this couple patches you can get away with, using Imaginary Dragon, but then in patch 1.6 or 1.7, well, you can't really use them anymore. Like you can try, but we've adjusted the game so much that he's still a strong character. He's just not strong right now in this current weather. Sure. Yeah, that would be interesting to see them go about that route too. I just don't want to see them keep the game the same, but the power of characters keep going up. Because at that point, like, why do I have this much power if I'm gonna kill it anyway? So
I think personally, when it comes to this topic of power creep, I personally don't think it is a thing in Honkai Star Rail, just because right now in the game, I'm going to consider power creep when Sele can't, 20 star for, 20 turn for 30? 3-star? No, like the amount of turns you get before you lose your 1 star is 20, right? You go to 20 turns.
Oh, yeah, I think it's 20 now.
Once she is not able to do that with the best possible conditions or the best possible teammates, then I will consider power creep. But because both Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail are solely single player games with no PvP, I don't see it as going to be like any type of power creep until we have characters that cannot are able to actually be MOC no matter what happens. When that happens, then I'll be scared. Then I'll say, yeah, power creep is going to be a thing. But for now, because we don't have a system like PvP leaderboard based timed content with Honkai Impact, that has power creep for sure. Because if you don't have the new character, if you don't have that team, you're going to be phased out into the other ranks. You're going to be lowered to rank. You're going to lose rewards because you don't have these teams. With Genshin and with Honkai Star Rail, they're single player games. As long as you get it done in 20 turns, you're going to get your 3-star. So it doesn't matter, in all honesty, with the DPS that come out. Yeah, you'll clear it faster. But if Selly can still do it before the 20 turns are up, then you're good. Like, you can still use her. She'll be fine. So that's me personally.
Yo, I have a perfect meme for this. Yo, let me just send this.
Uh-oh.
I just personally don't. I just personally don't think it's going to be.
I knew it.
Let me see. Oh my god. I'm gonna make sure to put these all up whenever they come up during the podcast. But yeah, like how genuine is just a punching bag at this point. But yeah, I just don't think it's a thing. Not until we get a PvP mode or some type of thing where you are actually losing rewards, or losing some type of thing in regards to using that character. So when Selly can't MOC 30 star, power creep is a thing. We get PvP, then power creep is a thing. But for right now, I don't think it's a thing. So with
That's fair.
Yeah, so with this all being said, this podcast was super fun. Is there any closing thoughts? Anything y'all want to talk about really quickly? Anything you want to throw out before we call it a close?
You mentioned something about tier lists way earlier in the podcast that I wanted to touch up on, but I didn't. Excuse me, because we were talking about all the other topics, and I really
Wait, we made a tier list.
Well, technically
no,
no. But technically the top.
But...
Oh, shoot. Okay, we'll think
We all
about
make
that.
a tier list.
Bro, I think a tier list podcast was taking like another 3 hours. Like, not gonna lie.
Well, this is
Oh my
technically already
God.
2. So, but
Yeah, I was like talking to myself, making my own tier list. It took like 1 hour each. For DPS. It's a state. It's like,
yeah,
fucking long.
I guess the tier list part was like the top 3 best characters in a way, like the where you rank.
No. Before that.
What do you mean?
I can't remember what you said, but you said something. We were talking about tier lists, and you mentioned something about the tier list and like why you would do something or why you had.
Oh, dude, my memory is straight
tiers in a
crap. I
certain
promise.
way. Yeah, mine is bad too, bro.
Yeah,
So
my memory is
I'm
bad.
like,
So I don't
damn it.
remember.
I was gonna ask him, then I waited till the end so I could talk about it because it was interesting to me. I'm like, oh, that'd be really cool to talk about, blank. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, my memory's so bad. So like, if a point gets lost, it's either gonna be lost forever, or I'm gonna make it come back when.
We'll come back in a few hours.
Yeah, it'll come back in a few hours when we're not doing this. So, if anything gets brought up, I'll probably bring it up in the next episode. Of course, I actually did shred off a good amount of topics because I had a lot today. But I'm gonna keep it for Fu Xuan's episode because I think those are more in line with what she's gonna have in her podcast discussion, the things we could talk about there. But is that anything else? Anybody else? Final remarks, final closings, anything? Nope.
Yo, if y'all can afford it, go get E2 done, Heng. Yo, make you open your eyes to watch true DPS.
Free to plays are like
I
no
want to,
shot.
like, fuck, bro, that's $600
1
maximum.
million damage. For real.
That's $600.
Free to
I
plays.
still don't even have his light cone. I still don't have his light cone either.
Free to
so-
plays are like, hey.
This is not financial advice.
Do not take it as
Do
such.
not listen to me for financial advice.
I think these are the worst group of people you could ask for that because
I will spend the money.
yeah, we will spend the money for the right character. So other than that, that's going to be pretty much it for episode 2. This was super fun to make with all of these guys. Always a blast to have a discussion about all the current things happening. We will have our next one probably around Fu Xuan release. I don't know if we'll do another one earlier than that, but we'll see. But other than that, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for coming out as always. Y'all can say your byes to the chat, byes to the comments, all that type of stuff. Make sure to comment, like, and all that stuff so that we can make more of these because these are really fun. And I want to see these do good because we need more people in here and we need to have more interactivity with a lot of the other content creators because it's really cool to do this with a lot of people. So other than that, thank you guys so much for coming. See you on the next one and peace.
If you don't comment, your toes are getting tickled.
Oh no.
Oh.